numbers.
Cleveland Moto Podcast number 405. Light them up, boys. And I'll give you, thank you, Dan. We're holding our end up for the bourbon drinkers in the house. That's right.
What kind of bourbon are we drinking tonight?
Well, I'm drinking some of that Patreon listener supplied Christmas bourbon. The Cleveland Christmas bourbon that Ralph Technow supplied. And I've got to say,
Delightful?
Yes.
Tastes just like Christmas.
Because it tastes just like Christmas. And because it is one of those things where Sailor Jerry spiced rum is not always a good idea. But sometimes it's the best idea. And same with when somebody pours you what is, if I didn't talk or we didn't discuss what this was, and I handed this to you at my house, you might think, Phil makes a pretty fucking wicked old-fashioned.
Yeah.
An old-fashioned in one move.
Like it.
And, a lot of times when you buy an old-fashioned that comes pre-mixed from some of our friends that are distillers, the alcohol content is pretty low, right? Because they're not serving it as a bottle of liquor. They're serving it as a cocktail in a bottle. Mm-hmm. And so you might find yourself in that, 80 proof territory, right?
Yep.
And so this, on the other hand, it's got a very nice, it is to bourbon what
Nice.
fucking Christmas ale is to beer, and there are times when that's what you want. Right. And I will admit, I let pumpkin spice hang around in my house about a month too long. Oh. Yeah. And so I have 2 seasons. I have, what do we have? The pumpkin spice season that gets me all the way through to the Christmas ale season. And that's exactly how we operate at the house. It is.
Then the pastel M&M season.
There is no distinctive flavor for the what should we call it? Should we call it the Valentine's Day / Easter season? Because they don't have there's no pumpkin spice for Valentine's Day / Easter. Unless everything just tasted like those bullshit conversations.
Easter, you just drink, Easter beer. Zombie dust.
Zombie dust. I was going to say everything needs to taste like those conversation hearts. Those chalky bullshit, horrible.
horrible.
I was thinking this, like the religious wafers, because it's his
That's
birthday,
another
so.
terrible taste too.
Yeah.
Body of Christ for all my friends.
That'd be awesome if I went to church and they were giving out Reese's peanut butter eggs.
John's back in line.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm coming back around.
Right. If that was the official, if Reese's peanut butter egg was the official flavor,
The host of Easter.
I'm in. I'll be back at church, guys. We'll see you.
Imagine how the numbers would go up.
Pretty good.
And there's plenty of chocolate peanut butter stouts in town.
I cannot believe a church hasn't thought of this. Like, hey, let's change things up a little bit.
Yeah.
The sacrament, let's make it chocolate milk and fucking snacks.
It would work. I mean, there's no restriction.
Right.
I would say there probably is no restriction.
And realistically, what's the difference? Like, the blessing is what's supposed to put the thing in,
Look,
right?
the whole idea of the Eucharist, right? The whole
It's converting it.
It's converting it.
It's
It can start off as anything,
It's
right?
when they ring the bells.
Oh, that's what it is.
Oh, really?
But to Steve's point, though, it could be a 7-layer chocolate cake, and as long as they go like this, it's fucking going to be fine, right?
Body of Christ. Body of Christ.
In theory, yeah.
What is
Yeah,
it?
you're pushing it a bit, but that's okay.
Body of Christ.
No, you can put a layer of like cherry in the middle, so it looks like he's bleeding a little bit or something.
Well, you're more
frosting of Christ.
Well, the Protestants, you can do whatever you want. I mean,
the Protestants use like real bread.
yeah, we actually just
Lutherans or
grape
whatever.
juice.
You go.
They use chocolate babka.
When I was a kid going to church, you didn't get communion every day. You only got communion when you got communion. But it was literally chopped, literally a tiny, what would be a crouton, but it was still slightly soft.
Gotcha.
So it was just an underaged crouton, and then the little tiny plastic, the micro shot glasses of bad wine.
Ours was literally Welch's grape juice.
Oh, if you're underage.
Everybody.
No.
Temperance.
Oh, my God, John. Temperance.
That's just wrong.
No, they're not going to give anybody alcohol.
Jesus didn't do fishes, loaves, and grape juice.
In North, in
He
my
didn't
church.
Because he had to have people coming back.
Yeah, he didn't turn
People
water
had grape
into
juice. They go, fuck that. I'm not going to
and he
check this
turned
guy out."
water into Welch's.
Yeah, fuck
That's what I was
that.
gonna say. Like, yeah, like what,
You don't hear a lot of Methodist priests diddling boys. Do you?
How many of those little things do I have to eat before I've eaten a whole Christ?
I'm working my way up.
I'm
Christ
pretty
on a-
much at the
Probably,
knee about
probably
this.
180 pounds
A
worth.
whole lot.
That's why I'm sticking with the flying spaghetti
that what-
monster.
It's a whole lot of communion.
Is that where the Christ on the cracker thing came from?
No, it's Christ is a cracker.
You get a little, instead of cheese whiz, it's Christ whiz.
Christ is a cracker. Oh, man.
Dude, okay.
I'm not allowed to laugh at this.
That's right, man.
Blasphemers.
You know
Dude,
what?
but you're smirking.
I got an
Total
education.
Wait till we do
Trying not
our
to.
wait till we do our Muhammad set. It's gonna be
Oh,
great.
yeah.
Hey, well,
Gotta draw
sorry.
a
To my left,
cartoon.
we got.
Hey, you got Chris Smith.
The
And,
Pope's not going to come out here and kill you, though.
so you were telling a story about the new bourbon there, and what? It's a what in a bottle?
Christmas.
A Christmas ale. But you were saying it's like
Christmas
a highball.
It tastes like it kind of has that like an old fashioned.
An old fashioned.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
So my grandfather used to buy these bottles that were made in Cleveland actually, and they would have a pre-made bottle of old fashioned and other, cocktails like a martini and stuff like that, and they all came in brown bottles. They have a label on it, so he would keep them down in a little fruit closet in the kitchen. And finally, my grandmother decided there's 6 bottles in here, and they're all like half full. So she just on her own decided to pour them all in together and fill up the bottles so that she didn't have 6 bottles in there. She just compress it down.
The first kamikaze. Yeah. Love it.
So the story is my grandfather comes in, he takes out a bottle, throws some ice cubes in there, he pours out what he thinks is an old fashioned or something. What the hell is this? And goes to my grandma. She says, "Well, there's just too many half-filled bottles.
Oh
I put
my
them all together."
God. Oh.
That was the story. I don't know whether it's worth it, but that's you reminded
Yeah.
me of
Oh
that
yeah.
one.
I mean,
Speaking of old women, I mean, Grandma's been going crazy with the chairlift. It's driving her up a wall.
Oh God.
So
man.
I don't want that to be as funny as it was. I was hoping it was kind of shitty, but it's not. It's funny.
so
I don't know.
So-
Nick
so-
gave that to him today.
oh, he's got writers. Oh my God, John's got writers now. This is embarrassing.
There's a couple of cows sitting around. And they're getting high, smoking some weed, and playing poker. I guess you could say the stakes are high.
Not in my house.
So my girlfriend, my girlfriend says to me that she thinks I might be a pedophile. And I said, well, that's an awfully big word for a 10-year-old.
There you go.
I get no laugh out of that.
And back to the point, Chris cannot be a janitor at an elementary
man.
school.
So bad. Oh, so yeah, when we were kids, was it Colonial Club or was it Paramount that was here, made in Cleveland here?
Paramount.
Right? Because
It's
that
made
was
in
the one on
Cleveland.
Berea Road.
Yeah, yeah. I
Paramount
think it's-
Distilleries. And so in that great, in the great artisanal liquor revival that occurred over the past 20 years, they changed their name from Paramount because the stink was on it. And everybody knew, hey, I got you a bottle of liquor. No, that's not liquor. That's Paramount, right? And not since Mogan David had to separate themselves from Mad Dog 2020.
Oh yeah.
And not like MD 2020. It's Mad Dog, right?
And
We
Mad
all
Dog
know.
had to separate themselves from Mogan David.
True that, right? But so that was the thing, is Luxor became Luxor, and Luxor became a respectable brand again because it was no longer associated. Like, I'm sure that if you walked into that building and you said, it's so great to get a job here at Paramount Distilleries, you'd be on your ass outside in the parking lot in no time flat. Because we all grew up with that exact bottle that was Paramount Distilleries.
You try to
Old-fashioned.
find
Well, that just happened because I bought Paramount, like the full vodka, rum, and I bought them all for the RV, like handles. I'm like, this shit's so cheap, yay!
It's all
If I just
methanol.
need wash, it's mid-Ohio grade.
Yeah, it is Bourbon Ferry approved. But yeah, Paramount had old, Long Island iced tea in one bottle.
Yeah.
Right? All these cocktails that should never just be in one bottle. but in one bottle. But what I think is hilarious is, no bar would purchase a bottle of Paramount, dare having one behind their bar that anyone could see.
And just pour it over some
Those
ice.
are Paramount's for VFWs and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. And so I think that changeover to Luxor was so that they could say like Midwest Grain Distilleries, MGD, produces everything, everything for everybody.
Right. I thought about something. You talked about the Bourbon Ferry. I thought about this.
Oh, yeah?
We can ask listeners to sponsor days.
Oh.
So like, you want to have Basil Hayden Friday, or you want to have Wild Turkey Friday?
Shit.
You provide the bottles, and then
Oh, now we're talking about multiple nights of Bourbon Ferry.
Oh yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, I've been
Oh,
saving
my.
up bottles for the Bourbon Ferry.
excellent.
I got a few things.
Well, Dan's our first sponsor.
I hope none of them are any good. That's
So this is the blackberry flavored brandy,
Check.
nice.
the Paramount Black.
That was a hunting stable.
Yeah, that right there.
Stable.
It's like Slivovitz.
The blackberry flavored brandy. I got so bad on that when I was a kid one time. And I mean, I think I might have tried to set an 11-year-old personal best record.
So what's the first thing that you got drunk on?
Oh, I got a good story.
Everybody.
I know the
has to
first thing I
answer.
got
good.
sick on.
I got
Okay.
so when I was in marching band in 9th grade, I was friends with like the senior kids, and we were all the brass, the tubas, and all that kind of shit. So we'd have fires in the bells and stuff, like just dumb shit. So my buddy was like, "Hey, I stole 2 bottles of Black Velvet from my parents," and I was like, "What's that?"
Yeah.
He's
must
like,
be
"It's
smooth."
super good." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I take it. I'm like, "Oh, all right." But I had to be cool because I'm an asshole, and like I had to be cooler than everybody else. So I was like, "Give me that. I've had this a lot." I'm like, "Oh," and I drank like probably a half a bottle of that Black Velvet. And so we're going on through the night, and that shit kicks in, and I'm
What goes in must come out.
dude. Well, not yet, but here's the funny part. So it was, thank God, it was a practice. It was Thursday night band practice at the high school. So I'm in the group, and I'm barely hanging on, man. I'm just like walking around, and at one point, the whole band goes forward for like 16 bars, and then the whole band goes left.
Yeah.
Except for me.
Oh, you just straight
I
out?
was like, I'm just still walking. And within 10 minutes, man, I was found
You
out.
were marching a sousaphone?
I was found
Was
out.
it brass or fiberglass?
No, I was a euphonium.
Oh, okay,
So I was
euphonium,
with the
yeah.
sousaphones, but I was
Yeah,
euphonium.
right.
But he was like, "Why don't you sit here for a little bit, and we're going to talk to you in a little while." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm sitting there, and about 10 minutes later, dude, I was projectile like puking about 30 feet onto the football field.
I'm so sick.
I got called. I had to go to the office. I think I
So
was
I think
suspended.
I think to answer Dan's question, Black Velvet.
Black Velvet.
All right.
Yeah.
Chris, what was your first time drunk?
You know what? I didn't drink in high school, so it wasn't until I got to college. And I was in Omaha, Nebraska, which was 21. But if you want to cross the river into Iowa, it was 18.
18, right? Yeah.
So a bunch of people decided to go over to this bar, and one guy next to me is drinking gin gimlets. I said, "Oh, that sounds good." Not knowing what the fuck a gin gimlet is. Gin gimlet. So one, that's not bad. Yeah, I'll have another 2. Like 4 in, it's like I had no idea what was going on. I don't know how I got back. All I know is that I woke up in one of the hallways, projectile vomiting.
Yeah.
So
Gin?
yeah.
Gin, simple
gimlet.
syrup,
Yeah.
and lime. That's all it is.
I think they were coming out of the Hublot bottles or whatever. I don't think they were spending a whole lot of time mixing these things together.
Nothing was muddled.
No. I'm pretty sure.
Except me.
The principal ingredient is gin.
Do they have the little onions in them?
Yeah, you can get them with onion. Yep. Yeah.
No onions. They weren't wasting any onions on us.
Yeah. Oh man, that's something. Okay, Dan, what was your first tragic
My first
experience?
was Paramount Slow Gin, straight from the bottle. I definitely wrecked my bicycle on the way home.
Oh no! Oh no! And it, that's the trick. If you're a person that's like, I like gin, I'm a big fan of gin. Let me try some of this not so fast gin.
I mean, I had 2 friends who were
It is not- yeah.
3 years older
Isn't
than
it
me.
red?
So I was 12 and they were 15.
Slow gin fizz. We used to do the fizzers where you slow gin fizz, pour a little bit, slam it, and then drink it.
Dude, this is embarrassing, but until I started watching Moonshiners like 10 years ago or whatever,
Yeah.
I didn't know that all boozes were just the same and it's how they're finished. I thought there was like, You know what I mean? Like it's all just alcohol and how you finish it.
Right.
You're
I
an
thought,
idiot.
I thought, because you know, people would say, "Oh, whiskey gives me a bad hangover, but this doesn't."
Yeah.
It's like bullshit. They're all alcohol. Like it, you know.
Well, but one's made of potato,
Everybody's
one's made of
chemistry is
mash, one's
different.
made of sugar.
Yeah.
Corn.
But the thing is, they
wheat,
are all
barley.
producing the exact same chemical structure.
Yeah,
so-
it's
right.
distilled. Yeah, I mean, like, I mean, of course, like if you add shit into it, like the sweet stuff, yes, that'll give you a bigger hangover. But
Dan, I brought this picture up so you could relive your childhood, and that's the thing, right? Like we all know, even seeing it, I didn't know this about Paramount Creamy Top Slow Gin, that it says the slow berries used in this product are imported. Not that I think there's anywhere in the United States
Illinois.
that any farmer is out there going, well, you know, we got a pretty good batch, pretty good harvest of slow berries this week, Martha.
what the fuck is a slow berry?
Again, juniper is basically based on juniper berries.
Oh, right.
So gin comes from juniper berries,
right.
And so it's not that far different from vodka, other than the juniper berries that are in it. So, and that makes all the difference in the world.
So
by the
what's
way.
a slow
Juniper
berry?
berries were poisonous.
Anything's poison if you eat enough of it.
No, man, I just thought the berry themselves.
Yeah, eat a bunch of
poisonous.
them. You're gonna probably get
Those are
super
some
sick or
little,
die.
like,
Yeah, the little blue colored berries grow on trees, juniper trees.
I thought they were red.
No, they're
No,
like
you're
black.
talking about those little jelly things that grow on like shrubs. No, that's not what.
That's
That's
what juniper
Oh,
berries.
yeah.
no, not
Those
those
are
little,
cool.
Don't ever eat those.
No, and they have like the hole.
I
At
know
the
those
end.
are poisonous.
bushes. Yeah.
I love that they had the hole at the end of them.
I always thought
Seed-
those were
seed-
juniper berries.
There's your juniper berry for you.
You
there
mean
you
the
go.
anus where the whole
you go.
berry squirts out?
There's your juniper berries.
Yeah.
Yep. They're from conifers. So, okay, anyway. So Dan got super sick. How old were you, man?
12.
12. God damn. God
I
damn.
did not get sick.
Oh, you didn't get sick. You just got hammered.
You just wrecked your bike.
You just got hammered. John, what was your first
Fella.
what was the never been sicker drinking that liquor?
Well, I've been sicker, but the first one was actually peach schnapps. So
Boy, I think Paramount might have been guilty of that one too.
we were about 15, and I was harping on my older brother to get us some booze. So he's like, "Fine." So so in his mind, he didn't want us to get too. He didn't want us to die.
Right.
So he bought us peach schnapps, but he bought us a half gallon.
Oh, shit.
Good. Oh my God, man.
Dude, I can feel
looking
that
out for you.
hangover. I can
So
feel that hangover.
you know
right now.
all the sugar in the world with an okay amount of alcohol.
Yeah.
And we drank the whole thing.
You're 40%.
And I don't
I
remember
mean,
if
40 proof.
I don't remember if I vomited, but I know that my buddy vomited on me, and that wasn't good.
That's fucking ugly.
starts the chain reaction.
Dude, that's
And I
ugly.
know we went to my buddy's house, and we had like peach schnapps, straight peach schnapps in Pepsi cans. And we knocked on the door, and we were like talking to his mom, and we're like, "She'll never know. It's peach schnapps.
Yeah.
It's Pepsi." And my buddy's just like, "What the fuck are you guys doing? You're drunk. What do you come to my house for? Get out of here!"
Mr. Hoffer, what was your first tragic interface with alcohol?
I didn't drink all that much, but
Yeah.
because I didn't like it. But I was
You're
at
not
my
supposed
friend's, 2 houses down. I was at my friend's house, and they had a bottle of Lambrusco when I was like in junior high, and so I drank like maybe half of that.
Yeah.
And I was buzzed, but I wasn't like not sick yet.
Yeah.
So I had to go home for dinner, and at dinner we always got a half a glass of wine. I mean, like
Oh.
because my dad,
All right.
he wanted to be European.
Sure.
So he had a half glass of wine, and I got this bright idea that I should mix milk and wine together.
Oh no.
So I don't know why I did it. It was like it was stupid because like the food came, and then I'm like because I was kind of drunk.
Yeah.
Then I'm like I'm gonna mix my milk and my wine together. I think it would be like because whatever. I poured it in there. The milk instantly curdled. Like,
yeah,
like
yeah.
it curdled.
Bloody brains.
Yeah, it was disgusting. And my
Yeah.
dad's like, if you're gonna waste wine, you're drinking that. And I'm like,
Okay. All right.
because we had a rule that you had
Fair
to,
enough.
We had to eat everything, like
Sure.
all that
If you
horrible
take it-
food that was made.
If you take it, eat it. Right.
Yeah.
Clean plate club.
No, we were given food to get rid of it, and we
Okay.
were like the garbage disposal. It was like, here, this food is horrible. Eat this, or you can't have dessert. That was the way it worked.
So that wine,
I
did you
drank
just
that.
instantly get sick?
So I drank that, and
Yeah.
I was like really sick to my stomach. And then I went upstairs. I was laying in my bed, and that's the first time I had the spins.
Oh, that's
And
terrible.
so the room is starting to spin. I'm laying in my bed, and I'm trying to like put my foot down on the side of the the floor to stop the bed from spinning. And then I get up, and unfortunately, the way my bedroom was there, and then I had to go through this common room where the TV was. It was on the second floor, and the bathroom was around the corner, and my grandpa's room was like adjacent to that. So I came out like trying to be nonchalant, and my parents are watching TV, and I walk into the bathroom and I just like yak.
Oh yeah.
And then my grandpa's like, "What have you been drinking, grandson?" He's like, because he was cool. He raised me, and he was cool. My parents just would never say a word,
Dude.
No matter if I drank. And they picked me up. My parents never said. They would ignore the fact that I was drunk.
I'll take that.
I think either my mom was completely naive or she did that. Because there were times when my buddy would drop me off when I was like a senior, and I like somehow got to my bedroom, and I can literally picture this. I was sleeping, and I remembered I was at the best toilet in the world. I'm like, this is the greatest fucking toilet, and I'm gonna pee so hard in this fucking toilet. So I'm sitting there just hosing this toilet down, and I hear, "Steven!" And I wake up, and I'm standing in the middle of my bed just pissing on my dresser.
It's called the phantom toilet.
And
It
my
happens.
mom goes, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I think I'm allergic to this one soda." She goes, "All right, well, go to bed, and we'll talk about it tomorrow." And that was it.
If you're peeing and it takes more than like 2 seconds to start peeing, you're dreaming.
If you've ever spent any amount of time around men in a in a punitive environment, like basic training, or I assure you, you've seen somebody piss in their wall locker. You've seen somebody piss on a bar stool. You've seen somebody phantom toilet.
Yeah.
And the phantom toilet is a
It is
real
so
thing.
real too when you're doing
We were
it.
camping. My buddy tried to piss on me twice. I woke up and he's on his knees with his dick out. I was like, ah.
He was.
Then he wipes it up with his sleeping bag.
He was
lays
trying to
back.
put that in your mouth, and when you caught him, he was like, "Oh, it's peeing."
I tentatively tried to go back to sleep, and I hear more rustling, and I get up, and he's trying to do it. I threw him outside, and he was just like, psh, he was a fountain. He was pissing
Our friend
on
Joe, one night we had a party at his house, and things got really out of control, and we had a guy in our group that was kind of famously a party pooper, and this guy would just get up on the bar naked and really call a lot of attention to himself, but then, ironically, usually the first guy down.
Oh, yeah.
Like usually the first guy in bed. And he was living at Joe's house at the time. And one night we were having a really good time. And Joe disappeared. It's his house. And then we hear all this screaming and yelling coming from upstairs. Well, Joe turned left instead of turning right and relieved himself on Chris while Chris was asleep in his bed.
Oh no!
And that hit pretty hard. That was pretty. Yeah, that hit hard.
That's
Anyhow,
called
That's
a-
not
Phil,
like a
when was the first
first-class
time that,
amenity
young Phil?
when you fly.
What's that?
Having somebody pee on you.
Oh. All right.
So, Phil, when was the first time you enjoyed the...
November 4th, 1987. A date that will live in infamy. It was also the first time I was ever in actual real trouble in the United States Army.
Oh.
And the reason that date is a kind of a big deal is because I had to go to court over that date. Oh. I had to do things because of that date. So yeah, I arrived in Germany on November 3rd.
Oh wow! It took you one day. Not even.
I wish it was a day.
It's Germany. What are you talking about?
I arrived in Germany November 3rd of 1987.
Yeah.
That's the day I got off the bus. I got off the airplane, got off the bus at Mainz-Lee Barracks in Germany. Had a very trials and tribulations getting there. Almost ended up in a city town post called Wildflecken, the highest suicide rate in Germany.
Oh, good.
Uh-oh.
That could have been me for 3 years. Ooh. But fortunately, I had somebody give me a hot tip and said, "You don't want to go there. Let me fix your paperwork so you don't have to go there." And I did, and I had to wait the long way on the bus.
But suicidal chicks
by
can be easy,
the
man.
time... Have you ever been in the military?
No.
Okay, there's no chicks.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Oh, it's straight. This
This is combat military army.
Oh, I thought you said a city.
There are no girls.
Okay.
This is a post. Yeah. There's no women there.
Okay, I thought you were talking about a city.
Maybe the lady who works at the the PX maybe.
Right,
But
Dick.
nothing but goddamn dick. So anyway, November 3rd I arrived. It was already dark.
Okay.
I got shown to a room that was sold that was going to be my room. And it was like 6 or 7 guys in that room. And I'm brand new. Brand new.
Fresh out of the wrapper.
Man, I mean, in uniform and whatnot, but, you know, the duty hours are over. And this is Sunday night. And so Sunday night, my dumb ass goes in and, hi, I'm Phil from Cleveland. You got to picture me, but about 168 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay. Pretty skinny. Yeah. About a 28 waist. Okay. Yeah. And so I go in, and everyone basically is like, hey, new guy, you know, fuck you, whatever. And I'm like, bullshit. So this guy comes in, he goes, hey, my name's Sergeant Bob. I go, hey, Sergeant Bob, what's going on, man? You know, where are you from? Cleveland. Yeah, what are you into? I'm into the... And I was like, this guy's remarkably cordial. Well, I didn't know that E5s really weren't supposed to live in the barracks. Like, that was the first warning sign. That'd be like a 40-year-old man who still lived in his mom's basement, right? By the time you're an E5, you should have your shit together. By the time somebody's calling you sergeant, you probably shouldn't be living in the barracks anymore. Right. Unless, yeah. Okay, so, all right. So he's like, well, you like drinking. I was like...
So you're saying this guy that's talking to you doesn't have his shit together?
I'm 18 years old.
You're...
Yeah, but
you should be there. You should be there, but he shouldn't be there.
I'm saying that the warning sign that I should have picked up on is an E5 sergeant who still lives in the barracks. Right. First warning sign.
He's a senior that's in 8th grade still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an 11th year freshman.
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. So, anywho, okay. Hey, you like guns? I like guns.
Check and check.
Check and check. Good, yeah. I like that. Come on over to my room. I'll show you something.
Oh.
Yeah, that's not good.
And I was like, all right. You know, it's a big old German barracks, you know, from World War I or whatever. And so I walk across the hallway to his room, and because he's a sergeant, he has a one-man room.
Was he squeaking when he was walking or anything? Like leather or anything in there?
All right.
As long as he didn't ask you to cock something.
Well, so there's some rules about being in the military. And the first thing is when you're back at the barracks and stuff and you get off your duty day for the first thing you want to do is get your uniform off right quick in a hurry. Mm-hmm. Get into your civilian clothes so you can go out and be a civilian. Get out of your BDUs pretty quick.
Put your laterhosen on.
Sure. Blend in with the people, right? Yeah. So this dude was still wearing his BDUs, though, and it's 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. You like guns? I like guns. Yeah. And he opens up his wall locker and pulls out a Barrett Light 50.
Respectable.
Well, that should cause some concern because there's no place on God's green earth where anybody should ever have the gun that killed RoboCop.
Right. Yeah, it's a big gun.
In their wall locker. Especially in the military where they have things called armories, where you're supposed to have any guns that, like if John was in the Army and he owned 3 guns because he just liked guns, he would have to keep all of his guns in the basement of the building called the armory under lock and key. And if John wanted to go shooting, he would have to go check it out with the armorer, sign out his own gun that he owned, and then go to the range and go enjoy his gun and bring it back.
I didn't know you were allowed to bring. You're allowed to bring your own weapons to the Army?
Apparently so.
Yeah.
You're going to use the gun they gave you.
Right. For all their stuff.
For their stuff.
Oh, this is on your personal time.
On your personal
time. It's like
time.
having a tennis racket, but they need to lock it down.
You got it.
Okay.
Right. Yeah,
Understood.
exactly.
Understood.
So when the dude goes in and brings out a semi-automatic 50 caliber sniper rifle, you should be experiencing what they call warning bells, right?
Yeah.
And so this guy brings this thing out. Now, if anybody's seen this, it's basically 6 feet long. Okay.
But this was your first day.
And this was my second hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he brings this thing out. Now, a Barrett Light 50 at the time was about $5,900.
Wow. That's a lot for back then.
That's about a third of what we made in a year.
Yeah.
Okay. And so all of these things don't add up. These are all scary things that any adult would have said, warning sign, warning sign, warning sign, warning sign.
I gotta go.
But this
Stranger
guy's not
danger.
wasting any money on rent, I tell you that.
Also true. Also true. But he's got a Barrett Light 50. So I'm like, Barrett Light 50, when am I ever going to touch one of these again? The best I've ever seen was like behind glass at a gun show. Ooh, Barrett Light 50. So I am doing exactly what I shouldn't be doing.
Touching it?
Oh, I'm prime for sex trafficking at this point. And then he starts going, well, if you like, what do you drink? And I said, well, you know, Bartles and James are nice. Lynchburg lemonade is pretty fierce.
Unless you have a Zima.
Hold on, I was going to say, we're going to have to, there might be some people that are 18 to 20 listening right now.
Wine coolers.
They don't even know what that is.
It was 1987.
It's White Claw. But
It's White Claw.
But that's what I'm
it's
saying.
the equivalent of, right?
Yeah,
you got it. Wine, you know, right.
With a wine base.
Yeah.
with a wine base. That was malt liquor.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, exactly.
I don't think it
was
had
malt
any
liquor.
wine in it.
It was a malt liquor beverage. I read the can. I read the bottle, I should say. Anyway, so out comes the handle of, and I just puked a little bit in my neck, even about to say
They
the
made
word.
a handle of Bartles and James?
No.
Wild turkey.
Jim Beam.
Yeah.
And a handle of Jim Beam came out.
And that's before the Japanese fixed that company.
Okay. So the bottle of Jim Beam came out, and then there's a black spot in my history that I don't remember.
Not a brown spot?
Well, so it turns out Monday morning, the Army likes to wake up kind of early.
Yeah.
They're funny that way. So at about 5 o'clock in the morning, give or take, somebody bangs on your door and comes into your room and yells all kinds of horrible things about getting up and putting on your PT clothes and doing a lot of push-ups and running around at 5 o'clock. Not this guy.
Yeah, right.
So I didn't know this, but apparently I had puked my way from Sergeant Bob's room into a bed that they defined was mine, a bed that had no bedding on it whatsoever, that somebody had put 3 or 4 trash cans around, so no matter which way I puked, it went in a trash can, and spread garbage bags onto the bed.
That's Uncle Bob.
Somebody,
Uncle Bob.
Sergeant Bob is taking. We don't. Let me strike this. I don't know.
Right. Somebody knows.
I don't know. Right. So I get yelled at, and people with increasingly loud voices kept coming into the room.
And you're hungover as shit.
I was not really a human at that point.
Yeah, right.
I probably should have been in the hospital.
But you had a quarter behind your ear.
Well, yeah, right. And so eventually somebody came in that had more rank than anybody else and just said, to the aid station and then to the brig. That's pretty tough, right?
Yeah, that's bad.
That's pretty tough. So that was first night. So then that morning, 5 a.m., my day got worse. The 7 other guys that were in the room with me all just fucking ate that shit up. Okay? They had to clean it up, unfortunately. I went to the aid station. I got a IV. I think I puked for about 6 hours. I had the IV. I got immediately taken from the aid station to detention when I had my newfound company commander that I just got to meet.
Oh, no.
Came in and introduced himself to me. Pretty cool.
Wait, the guy? Wait.
A captain came in and said, hey.
It wasn't.
A captain came in and said,
Sergeant Bob.
No, okay.
a
that's
company
right.
commander came in and said, holy shit, you've been in town for 11 hours.
Right, no, but I thought you said that the dude that you partied
Nope.
with was now that guy.
Nope.
I was like, whoa,
Nope.
fuck.
So
I'm
they
following.
they
right.
brought him up on charges too
Oh, good. Right, maybe.
for things.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And I having a Barrett Light 50 in his wall locker. Getting an idiot from Cleveland impossibly drunk on his first night in Germany.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera.
Well, did they give you a little leniency since he did kind of predatorily take advantage of your situation there?
I was referred by a sergeant on my floor who said, your best hope is to talk to the chaplain and explain how just screwed up in the head you were to be in Germany and that you were jet lagged from the plane and that you had no idea what was going on and you've nobody ever told you that Jim Beam would make you sick.
Yeah. I like it.
And the guy's a sergeant. I didn't think I had an option not to.
And the sergeant, by the way,
He outranks me. If he tells me to have a drink,
and a sergeant's job is to take care of troops.
True.
And he didn't take care of his troops.
Yeah.
So I went in and I had to testify. I had 7 days of hard labor before my case came up.
You want to testify against Sergeant Bob?
I had to testify against the United States Army for making me drunk. I had to testify against the United States Army for making me drunk against my will.
Oh, those bastards.
Yep.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to say,
How'd that go?
well, the good news is I got what's called a suspended Article 15, which means they took some money out of my paycheck. I had done 7 days of hard labor already, because that's welcome to Germany, hard labor. And they decided that because I was a impressionable 18-year-old from Cleveland, Ohio, had been in Germany for exactly 3 hours, that I was in over my head.
Yeah.
The situation had become tactically untenuous.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Bob fucked me over.
Yeah. I mean,
And so Sergeant Bob he got the full-blown Article 15. Right. I just got the little summary, we're going to scare you a little bit, Article 15. Right. And it wasn't in my, it got pulled out of my record. Good. And it got, but yeah. And it was very funny how it went from being like, Waters is an asshole who can't handle his liquor, to Sergeant Bob might be a predator.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I went in and I had to, under oath, testify to things as people whose shoulders kept coming in getting heavier and heavier and heavier with their rank. And so I had to tell the story several times, but I didn't know the story.
Right.
I only know the story up to about 11:15 p.m.
Right.
I remember taking 50 cents down to the pop machine and buying beer out of the pop machine, because you do that in Germany. Right. Oh. And the pop machine's in the barracks. And I remember that because the CQ, the guy who's in charge of quarters, saw me go down and do it. And I went down and bought 4 beers for Sergeant Bob. Sergeant Bob was drinking beer when I was drinking bourbon. Oh, my God. Yeah. So that might have been Sergeant Bob being a bit of a prick.
Do you still send Christmas cards to Sergeant Bob?
Once again, Sergeant Bob.
Flowers.
Sergeant Bob's career didn't last real long after that. But apparently, from other people, Sergeant Bob.
Those fucking kids from
Sergeant
Cleveland,
Bob
Ohio,
may have had it coming.
Career.
Right? And it just might have been he pushed this one too hard. Yeah. He pushed this one too hard and got it too close to the edge. So long and short of it, we really don't know what happened. But for about 21 years, if I smelled Jim Beam, it was done. Yeah. And you can smell the difference between Jim Beam and other things. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So somebody hand me I got you this. Fuck you.
That's what, during COVID, one of the last times I got like 2 days, let's not talk to me, I'm dying hammered. It was on tequila, right? And so when COVID hit, everybody was handing out those fucking hand sanitizers. Yeah. And every time I'd squirt it out my hands, and I'm like I was totally about to fucking puke because they all smelled like tequila, man.
They do.
It's terrible.
Like, why did they waste good tequila? They should have wasted some other stupid liquor.
Yeah. Steve, I think what happened though, right? I think what happened is all of our friends that work at distilleries all went and said like, "Oh, we're making hand sanitizer."
Yeah,
now.
that's exactly right. Yeah.
And so I think though we
can make alcohol.
Yeah. I think they were just batch mixing it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think it was just poured all into the same stainless steel drum.
I'm sure.
And tequila just happens to be the strongest smelling one.
The tequila one is the one. I mean, we had it here at the shop. We got some from our friends down in Lakewood. Yeah. And I was like, I'd pump that stuff out and I'd be like, oh my God, Jesus tequila. Christ. And some of it had a bouquet of, gin. Some of it had a bouquet of
distill alcohol and put hair gel in it.
I don't know, but you know what? I don't have to worry about it anymore, but if you were one that was going to have a cocktail or two and you're driving home and you're not even whatever and you get pulled over, I'd hand sanitize.
You're not wrong. You know what? You're absolutely not wrong. That's pretty solid, man.
They'll still haul your ass in. So
yeah, that then again,
sanitizer.
Then I couldn't get you out of it.
It might help though.
Are you trying to pull the hand sanitizer trick on me here?
No, he had the hand sanitizer with the anal insert thing.
What I used to love was puking up ice cold beer.
What are you talking about?
I used to drink so much beer so fast that I'd be puking it up and it'd be still ice cold.
Oh my!
Never got the body temperature.
It never even got warmed up. And I just
holy shit.
Well, I used to just hang out by the keg in the bathroom and everybody that come in, you want to do a funnel? Let's do a funnel. And I would just do a funnel with everybody.
But for fuck's sake, man.
For like an hour. I'd just be doing funnels.
Puking up cold beer.
I'm going to puke.
Did you save that? You're so cheap. Did you save that?
I wish I could have recycled it.
We got to try this down at Mid-Ohio.
Oh, it's a terrible idea.
If you guys ever want to have a keg race, we'll do 4-on-4. You'll get a quarter barrel.
Yeah.
That's the best way to puke up cold beer.
Oh my God!
Dude, have you ever had it where you drink enough beer?
What are the other ways to puke up? And you said that's the best, but are there other ways?
Just funneling, funneling a lot of beers.
I must be doing it wrong. I'm always trying not to puke.
Keg stands. Keg stands will make you puke up cold beer.
Have you ever got it where you drank enough, but just the foam comes up, and so you're like, and it's just like a fucking thing of foam.
I would have to say I puked just about every way you could puke. Beer, alcohol, vodka, you name it, fucking tequila.
Fucking hell, man.
I've puked. I've drank to the point of puking. In fact,
I've
usually I try. I know that at a certain point I'm just better off puking, so there's no use holding back now.
That's the rally cry. You got to get it out and put more in.
I think I've only puked from drinking like 4 times in my whole
Why
life.
does he have a red scooter there?
We're going to talk about that.
Did
But-
you originally have a red scooter?
We're going to talk about that.
Settle down.
Settle down.
Well, they had it all over the news today. So.
I
Well,
know, but
so-
I can't believe they didn't include you at all in it. Where they got it or whatever. And
Well, I mean,
no.
yeah. Okay. So there's a thing that happened in Cleveland.
In Cleveland.
In Cleveland. So Cleveland apparently has a baseball team. And our baseball team is called the Cleveland Guardians, but we used to call it the Cleveland Indians. That's great. That's the only update I'm going to do on that. So our head coach, our manager is called Terry Francona. And Terry Francona, a.k.a. Tito, right? So, Tito if you're nasty. And so Tito came into my life many, many years ago. He just got moved from Boston to Cleveland. This guy's an extremely successful ball club member. Got Boston to the World Series after Twice.
Yeah.
And they hadn't been to the World Series since 1918.
Got him there the first year he was
First
there.
year he was there.
He's a good golfer. He was on the golf shows I used to edit. He'd be like one of the guest people on
All
the
right.
golf shows.
So he's just a super nice guy. He's originally, I think, from South Dakota. Anywho, comes into my shop the very first time and asks if I'll work on his scooter. I do not know. So the record, anybody sitting around this table knows I know fuck all about sports.
Right.
Gonna make that perfectly clear. So if you come in here flexing some shit about like I'm LeBron James's brother, that gets you nowhere. Okay? At all. I've heard the name. Sure. Well done. So he comes in. He goes, I got this scooter. Will you work on it? I go, what is it? It's a Wildfire, whatever, 49cc. Yeah. And I was like, no. And what do you mean? I won't work on that. Why not? Because it's a Chinese piece of shit. And I can't get the parts for it. It's going to be an ugly thing. It's going to make me feel bad and you feel bad. We're all going to have a bad day. Tell you what, is there any chance we can get you off of the Chinese garbage and onto something a little better? Right? Because nobody in this town is going to work on that bike.
And by the way, the guy makes,
We're
$72 million a year.
$4.2 million per year, 5-year contract guarantee. Yeah. Right? So not too bad.
So he can afford it.
If he takes a year off, he still gets $4.2 million. Yeah. If he gets caught putting his dick somewhere it's not supposed to be, he still gets $4.2 million.
He's
a
got
year.
cash.
Of course he does.
That's a good contract.
But I don't know anything other than he's just another guy who shows up at my shop with a Chinese scooter that doesn't work. So I just treat him the same exact way. Okay. So I'm like, great. He's like, well, I might be interested in getting another bike if you say this one really can't be fixed. I said, well, I'm going to give you the phone number of a guy over here in the hood that works on Chinese scooters. Slappy's House of Broken Scooters, right? Yeah. I'm going to give you the number and you're going to go over there. And if he can help you out, he can help you out. But if he doesn't want to help you out, I recommend buying something, but don't buy anything that he sells because you're going to be in the exact same position you're in right now. A scooter that's 3 years old, 1,800 miles on it that doesn't fucking hold its gas, right? Oh, fair enough. He disappears. Off he fucks. He comes back a few days later. Hey, yeah, we got to work something out. Yeah. Okay.
I've been to Slappy's.
All right. So this is usually the way it works. And rather than get into a long conversation with people, rather than tell them no, you tell them go. Right. Don't say no, just say go. Here's a number. This is where you go. Let somebody else be the asshole. Sure. I'm the guy that tried to help you. He comes back. He's like, yeah, that guy didn't have any good news for me. He wanted to charge me more than I paid for the fucking thing. And I was like, yeah, sounds like par for the course, right? Yeah. So what do you want? Well, what do you got that's used? Okay, fair enough. Yeah. I got a bunch of used bikes. So I introduced him to a lightly used Buddy 125 in a beautiful shade of red. Yeah. And he buys it. And I'm in the conversation. I'm like, well, what do you do? I work for the Indians. Oh, cool. That's great, man. And that to me means nothing. You might as well say you're a veterinarian, right? So I'm like, and I think that he was kind of shocked that I didn't take that any further. I was like, cool, you work for the Indians. That's awesome.
Yeah, right. I think all of us, well, no, you like sports, right?
Yeah, whatever. That's cool. So I'm trying to just be fashionable as I'm like going to go out and get the price and put an invoice together for him. Right. And I bring it back and he's like, can we do something about this number? And I'm like, well, it's a used Buddy. So it's $1,299. It's got 800 miles on it. We went through the carb. It's perfect. $1,299 for a used buddy. I think that's more than fair. What if I pay you cash? And I looked down and I said, what did you say you did for the Indians again? Because I figured, even if he's a groundskeeper, he's probably making decent bank.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody the Indians gets... The people that serve you beer at the stadium make pretty good money.
Right.
So I'm like, what do you do? He goes, well, I'm the general manager.
You're like, fuck, get the fuck out of here.
And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And he's like, no, I'm general manager of the Cleveland Indians.
Change it to 14.
And I was just like, $12.99 tax and title, right? Yeah. And so he bought that bike. So he bought the bike, $12.99 tax and title. And I was like, well, do you want us to like decal it up for you? Like, we could really do something fun here. You're the general manager of the Indians. I really thought you'd be swinging a Vespa-sized dick, but you're apparently not. So, but can we just like, you want to just put some style on this thing? Nah, it's fine, just the way it is. Okay, fine, that's cool. Off he fucks. And he, the bike gets banged around a little bit. It goes in the back of the 18-wheeler and goes to summer camp, and it goes to Florida, and maybe other people are riding it that might maybe not care about it so much or whatever. So it's kind of the town pump, right? And so it lives a life. So on his third or fourth carb rebuild, he's starting to complain about the cost of upkeep. And I'm like, hey, I got a great idea for you. I've got a Cleveland Indians blue Vespa over here. It's going to cost you $5,000 for an actual real Vespa. Yeah. It's got fuel injection.
No more carb problems.
No more carb problems. Right. And it's a Vespa, and it's going to do whatever you want. It's going to be dead reliable forever. Fuel injected, $5,000. I think you could make that work. I mean, they spend more money moving the fucking thing, right?
Yeah.
$5,000 to the Indians organization is probably nothing.
That's couch money.
That is couch money. That is one bad night in a loge.
Yeah.
That's three assholes in a loge get a little carried away. That's $5,000.
Wouldn't that be funny if he could if he has a take-home vehicle and he's chosen to use the scooter?
Oh my God.
That's his take-home.
That's his take-home vehicle? So meanwhile, the bobblehead comes out. And so the bobblehead comes out, and the bobblehead is the first bobblehead in the history of bobbleheads to have the sports figure sitting on a scooter. And beauty of beauties for the Genuine Scooter Company, it is very clearly a buddy scooter.
Yeah, it is.
Very fucking clearly
they
a buddy
didn't cartoon
scooter.
it at all.
They did not. That is the most authentic representation of clearly a buddy scooter that I've ever seen cast in resin.
I mean, they have the exhaust plate on the...
They nailed it. Yeah. So whatever the artist was, did a beautiful rendering.
Yeah.
It is unabashedly a buddy scooter.
And it's even the right size.
They nailed it.
They
nailed it.
Yeah.
I give them credit. Whatever toy company pulled this shit off, probably Zonex or somebody, whoever did it nailed the shit out of it. Yeah. So here's our opportunity. Let's get the general manager. This is weeks after he got a $4.2 million contract for 4 or 5 years. So I'm like, celebrate. Buy yourself something nice. Let's get you that Vespa. And I like the buddy. I really like the buddy. I really like it.
I mean, he's not wrong.
All right, cool. Yeah. Let's get you a fuel-injected bike, though, because you walk upright. Let's get you a fuel-injected bike.
Yeah. I feel so Neanderthal right now.
It's hilarious. So he looks around. He goes, you got any used ones?
Son of a bitch.
Yes, Tito. Yes, Tito. I have a used one. And so I show him, and we had that trade-in, flat black.
Oh, yeah.
Flat black Buddy 170 with the not flat black stripes on the front.
Right.
This bike does not exude joy.
No.
This bike is what Darth Vader's younger brother would have. Right?
Yeah.
Someday I'll be a Darth Lord too. This is
and
not
get a better one.
Right. This is not the bike that says I'm the general manager of a team that's been, our division champs multiple times.
It's like his goth evil brother twin.
It really is.
Did you see the footage of him driving it in the stadium?
Yes.
It looks so out of place. The red one, not so much.
Yeah.
The black.
At least the red one is kind of arguably team colors.
Yeah, right.
But the flat black one, we're not the fucking Vegas Raiders or anything here, right? No. You could kind of argue that. So it is very funny that the other day, his property manager for the team called the shop the other day and said, hey, his bike won't run. We got to get it in there and get it fixed because Cleveland had this unseasonably warm weather, and the bikes, he's going to be back in town from spring training or whatever. And so we got to make sure Terry's got his bike. I'm like, okay, well, what do you need? We got to bring it in. It's not running. We got to bring it in. I said, okay, cool. Bring it in. That's fine. You know,
Won't those kick? I mean,
no, it's a fuel injected bike. So it's fuel injected.
oh, because I know the Metropolitans will start even with a dead battery, but they have the different generators. So
Again, amen, brother. You're absolutely right. So here's a picture of him on his Chinese fling poo. And so this is him on the Chinese fling poo that he had when he moved to Cleveland, right? So it's a little wildfire piece of shit, you know, Chinese scooter. And this is the picture that somebody took of him clearly without his permission as they were passing him, you know, in Cleveland somewhere. He's wearing his Cleveland Indian shit though. That's pretty cool. And so the other night,
So they bring it in.
well, they don't bring it in. Did I mention he's cheap? Okay.
they
So
want you to pick it up.
so the phone call comes in. Hey, Terry wants his bike this weekend, or he needs to have the bike by Friday. This was Wednesday, and I said, okay, that's fine. Well, can you come to the ballpark and pick it up? Yes, for money.
Yeah.
I've done this before. The Cleveland Indians organization is not above paying me $100 to pick your bike up
couch
and
money,
go
man.
through all the pain in the dick it is getting into that building. And getting into that building with your truck and picking up that bike under that building is a giant time suck. It takes me at least an hour and a half to do it. So I'm going to charge you $100. That's not out of control. Oh, well, you know, is there any way? Okay. Hold on. Stop. And the guy that helps out in this situation, his name is Brandon. He's an equipment manager of some sort, or who fuck knows. But anyway, so Brandon, do me a favor. Does the Cleveland Guardians own a pickup truck? I'm pretty sure you do. Can you put this bike in the back of a Cleveland Guardians pickup truck or a box truck or whatever and bring it over here to the shop, drop it off? I will drop every goddamn thing I'm doing, and I will make this bike run for you by tomorrow, which is what you want to have happen. Really? Really? But you're not going to come and pick it up. No, damn it.
Not for free.
I'm not going to pay you and suck your dick. No. So this is how it works. You get it here. Well, can't you come here and do the work here? No. We'll get you a couple of tickets. Don't care. Don't care.
A couple of tickets.
Don't fucking care, man.
in the nosebleed section.
yeah.
I don't even.
Exactly.
They could be I honestly don't care. If you gave me
Because
tickets.
you've been to how many baseball games in the last 20 years?
0.
Yeah.
The last time I went to a baseball game, Beach Boys played on the field.
I'm with you.
And I wasn't there for the game, right? So anyway, so the guy comes in the next day, and I'm like, hey, where the fuck were you yesterday? I literally moved shit out of the way so I could work on your boss's bike. Turns out we just need a battery. If anybody listened to last week's podcast, I'm now at the level of, well, fuck. No shit, you needed a battery. You hadn't been feeding it. Your puppy's dead. All right. So Renee sells him a battery and off he fucks.
Did he get the good one with the 30% reserve on it?
Remember, he's cheap.
I don't think he was in charge of buying the battery. But anyway, the battery left.
You know what could be happening here is Terry's bike has to get maintenance and stuff, and there's not really any budget for that. It falls into this gray area, and so somebody who's has to answer to him is like,
I'll bet you there's a budget for maintaining those lawnmowers.
yes, but there isn't one for maintaining his buddy.
Exactly.
If we can steal it from, if it's gas or oil
Right.
that we can
Yeah.
steal from the lawnmowers
Yeah.
and put in the buddy,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But we don't have a battery that we can steal and put in the buddy.
Or Brandon was in charge of keeping that bike
Yeah.
Charge.
plugged in,
Yeah.
you know,
Right.
from
Yeah.
October.
I think you're right. I think
until
you're
January.
right. Yeah.
And he was touching Sergeant Bob's 50 cal.
He goes down there and says, "Fuck, we forgot to plug that thing on."
You
God
get to
damn it.
drink from the Jim Beam handle.
So as luck would have it, Friday. Now, remember I told you on Thursday they bought a battery.
Yeah.
Well, on Friday night, the motherfucker got stolen.
It was running though.
From Guardians Fest, apparently,
Yeah.
or something like that.
No, he had it out in front of
Oh,
his...
he had it in front of his joint? Because he's at like 7th and Lakeside?
Yeah, he's out in front of his apartment. He has it just sitting there. He doesn't have it locked up. And some
had the key in
joyrider
it?
comes... Huh?
Did you leave the key in it?
I don't know.
I don't think he left the key in it. I hope he didn't leave the key in it.
He left the key on.
I hope he didn't leave the key in it.
Dude, is he in sandals?
He's in sandals.
Oh, he's gonna find out someday that's.
Well, anyway.
Oh, I thought they were like gladiator boots.
Now, I would like to...
Guardian boots.
Gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is Exhibit A. I'd like to call your attention in the photo of Tito Francona riding the buddy scooter in question that there is a battery tender lead hanging off underneath the bottom of this bike.
there is.
So,
All right.
motherfucking Unkie Phil tried to hook a brother up.
Yeah.
All right? You can't say I didn't try.
Right.
Right? There is a battery tender lead in that picture. So, anyhow, in the grand scheme of things,
Carl.
the bitch got stolen.
Brandon.
So now here's the rest. Here's the rest of the story.
Stop it.
Every fucking news agency in the state of Ohio
Oh yeah, they're all jerking
all
off.
ran the story, called it Scootergate, and they're using every fucking derogatory term. So it turns out Terry Francona's hog was stolen the other night.
Yeah.
Dog.
Oh, they're bringing out every fucking pandering bullshit that if you're a scooter person or a scooter shop owner, that you cringe every time anytime any journalist has to talk about a Vespa or talk about a scooter, you just die a little bit inside because here comes the clown music. And here's Terry Francona riding his hog. And that's the audio track they're going to run behind it. And I've been doing this for a long time. I'm very used to it.
When they caught the thief, he tried to scoot around the issue.
Hey, right, exactly. Right on.
I hate that.
So the bike was apparently
skeet.
stolen. The bike was apparently stolen for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And our
Turned up at a homeless shelter.
15
Really?
blocks away from his joint. So it was stolen on Lakeside, and it was found at 21st and Lakeside.
I wonder if they even got it
big one?
running, or did they
that's
just like
the
push it?
Place just past Noble Beast.
Yeah, we know right where it is.
Oh, I
we
know
all
right
know
where it is.
right
I
where it
worked
is.
down the street from
John
there
worked down the street from there for a long time. So we all understand it didn't make it far.
No.
It made it about 14 blocks.
I wonder. Seriously, they probably just pushed it, right?
Well, if the column wasn't locked,
Yeah,
pretty easy to push one away.
sure is.
Now, if the column was locked,
It would have been in front of his house because they would have pushed it in circles.
yeah, exactly. Right. The column was locked. And
Probably
if
get worn
the
out.
keys, I think somebody walked up to it, the column wasn't locked, and they just pushed it down the street. And they gave up on it.
Yep.
They didn't know it was Tito Francona's bike. But,
Did
okay,
you
so here's a picture I put up of Cleveland's finest.
how many cops are there?
7.
Yeah.
There's 4 in this, or 5 in this picture, but apparently I watched the video and there's 2 more guys roaming around too.
Can you blow that guy on the end up a little bit? Let me see.
And they are straight up hugging. Tito Francona is hugging them. Now, the problem was the Cleveland Police Department put this on their Facebook, their social media. Okay? And they were like, here's to the Cleveland Police Department for recovering Tito Francona's scooter, beloved scooter, the whole deal, and this whole deal.
Crime solvers.
Crime solvers. Well, then being social media, every person that's had a Hyundai or a Kia, to like 700, 800 people, stolen in the city of Cleveland,
What about my car?
and those vehicles may or may not have been recovered.
Right.
Well, no, you have to. That buddy's worth more than all those cars combined.
Well, and I'm about to make it a lot more painful. Sleepy, if your car got stolen and the city of Cleveland recovered it, how would you get it back?
I'd have to get dropped off and pay
Impound
something.
lot.
What would you have to bring with you?
IDs,
Your title?
title.
Proof
Right?
of ownership.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you have to have a release from the Cleveland Police Department?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about that.
No, you would.
Okay.
I've done it many times.
Yeah.
So you'd have to have a release from the Cleveland Police Department.
Pay your $150.
Okay,
Or
now
whatever it is
it's
now,
$150 to get the vehicle out of impound. That's been in impound for 1 day is $300. $300 1 day in impound. Ask me how I know. I've picked up many of my customers' bikes, and I always rush out there in a hurry because the insurance company won't always pay for that. Okay, so I know if I don't get it in a hurry, those $45, $50 a day of storage is going to come out of my end.
Yeah, right.
So They literally threw it in the back of a van
The police.
and delivered it back to him. So if you need to have your motor scooter picked up for service in the city of Cleveland, be Terry Francona and get it stolen.
Yeah.
Because the Cleveland police will deliver it anywhere you fucking want them to. Because if I was a person that had a Hyundai that was stolen or whatever, and then go get it back, and it cost me between $300 and $1,000 to get it out of the police impound lot, a car that I legally own,
Right.
and Terry Francona is getting his back
Delivered.
an hour after it was stolen.
I think they waxed.
Well, Francona said to the people, "Hey, can we do something about this price?" Yeah, sorry, Terry. We'll
all these
deliver
guys
it to
got
you.
all these guys got free tickets and whatnot and the whole
Yeah.
deal. So anyway,
They all got more than you got.
and I'm the guy who's been dutifully servicing him. So there you go. But I did think that was pretty funny. I do, hey, look, I feel bad his bike got stolen. That's a terrible day for anybody. But if you're a celebrity, you have different rules.
But he admitted he doesn't lock the bike. He said that.
Oh, he did? I don't.
Yeah.
So I don't
he
pay
said
attention
that
to
last
that.
night on the news.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't lock the bike. I guess I should start locking the bike. It's like, well, yeah, that might be a good idea.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Don't ever let me know you don't lock your bike. Yeah, don't ever let me know, because we will turn that into a marketing opportunity.
Are you sure he didn't just park it next to the trash cans out by the street? And maybe
Down in the Metro Park there?
Down by the Metro Parks. And left the key in the ignition, too.
No, if he's buying used buddies,
Yeah.
maybe he's actually sleeping at that place.
Hey,
save
man,
some money.
I mean, I gotta tell you,
Saving money.
I'm super happy that it got recovered. But as a guy who's been doing this for 22 years, I can tell you less than 3 bikes I know of that were ever recovered. Less than 3 stolen bikes out of hundreds that were ever recovered.
James was never recovered.
James was never recovered.
James's is one too that I'm like, I can't believe that's never turned up in some way and somehow, not even a piece of it on Marketplace, Craigslist. As much as we all look like, you'd think it would have changed hands a couple times, and then somebody would have like, or it just immediately got destroyed.
Well,
It's probably in the river.
what John's not, the part of the story that John might be living out is that James's bike is a Cervetta runabout,
Aqua green.
and it's aqua green, and it is among rare, not because it's super valuable, it's just fucking rare, and it's a super rare bike. Renee used to actually own that bike, and it's such a rare bike, one of a kind almost bike, that for it to be stolen in the city of Cleveland,
Yeah, it had to be the only one in Cleveland.
oh, by a million miles. It might be the only one between New York and Chicago.
It was probably sold to an oligarch in Russia.
Italy.
I am still
Terry Francona has it somewhere in his basement.
yeah, I'm still convinced that
Without a battery.
this bike is hiding in a shed or in a garage no less than, I'm going to say 25 blocks from where James was jumped, beaten, and had it stolen from him.
Yeah.
I think that if you got some kind of magic key and you could look at inside of 25 or every garage within 25 blocks where he got jumped, you'd find this bike.
With a seized motor because they
Yeah.
probably put straight gas in it.
No, I don't think it ever got ridden. I don't think it ever got ridden. Had it got ridden, had it got sold, had it got anything, it would have ended up here.
It would have been impounded.
Right, sure. You couldn't ride it 10 feet.
They probably
Right.
couldn't ride it
No.
because they couldn't get it started. Or
They couldn't get it
figure
started.
out.
Yep, I agree.
And it got thrown in a garage
Yep.
somewhere, and they're like, cover that shit up. Make sure the police don't
I
find
think
you
it's
know.
laying under a pile of ladders in somebody's garage. And someday we're going to find it. Someday it's going to pop up. Somebody's going to buy a house, and there's going to be this bike in the back of that house.
You mean next to Black Betty?
Right, exactly. Right, yeah.
Or
Who knows
inside
where
of Black Betty.
Who the fuck knows where that Forticon line went? I'm convinced that son of a bitch
I'm
is in
still looking for that
Dubai.
thing.
Or they,
I'm convinced it's in-
pushed it out on the tree lawn during garbage day, and they picked it up and.
the city, right? Look, I got a Vespa GS out of Lakewood Dump. So I got a
But
Vespa
that's only
scooter.
because somebody thought it was like, pulled it out. How many times have they junked?
Oh, sure, they crushed it. Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, it's a hilarious thing when you think about that, but it's odd. All right, so you got a joke?
You want to hear a joke?
I always want to hear a joke, Chris. John's jokes have been pretty devastating.
A young family moved into a house next to a vacant lot. One day, a construction crew turned up to start building a house on the empty lot. The young family's 5-year-old daughter naturally took an interest in all the activity going on next door and spent much of each day observing the workers. Eventually, the construction crew more or less adopted her as kind of a project mascot. They chatted with her, let her sit with them while they had coffee and lunch breaks, and gave her little jobs to do here and there to make her feel important. At the end of the first week, they presented her with a pay envelope containing $10.
Nice.
The little girl took it home to her mother, who suggested that she take her $10 to pay to the bank the next day and start a savings account. When the girl and the mom got to the bank, the teller was equally impressed and asked the little girl how she'd come by her very own paycheck at such a young age. The little girl proudly replied, "I worked last week with a real construction crew building a new house next door to us." "Oh, my goodness gracious," said the teller. "And will you be working on the house again next week?" The little girl replied, "I will, if those assholes at Lowe's finally deliver the fucking sheetrock."
Yeah. Yep.
Is that a good one?
That's fucking. That is on point, man. That is absolutely on point. So we've this.
Give you a minute.
So this week we've got some fun messages from our Patreon listeners, right? Patrons of our podcast, and I don't think we give them enough of a shout out. I feel like we got to give them a little more love. So Renee this week, Renee was stuffing her box the way she does, and so we had a number of prize packs to send out to people, a number of sponsorship packs to send out to people, and Renee's been knocking it out. And we had one fella who asked us for a 5X T-shirt.
Ooh. Oh, okay.
We don't have any.
Bourbon Fairy too.
We got to split those side steams.
So, yeah, because you want a halter top, buddy? We can make you a vest. But anyhow, so Renee, being Renee wants everybody to have a great time. And she does. And she loves doing the Patreon thing. She loves filling the boxes up. And that's why she always throws in like extra stickers and keychains and all kinds of crazy shit. So Renee really enjoys the whole Patreon thing. Mm-hmm. Despite her not being on the air, she really digs the podcast. She thinks it's fun, and obviously you all know her. And
I just wish we could get her to party more. Get Renee to like.
That's not her. That's
one
not her
day
jam.
at Mid Ohio. I don't expect you to spend the whole weekend. No way can that happen.
Yeah,
but,
right.
Like a little guest, like whoa,
Right. It's Renee.
Shit.
Guest
Exactly.
appearance.
Right. And I've been friends with her for an extremely long time, and I was there when the Renee, woohoo Renee, and I've also here for the more adult. I own an African gray parrot, and that's about the extent of my social circle, Renee. So that's fine, and that's great. But what she has been is
you won't make her do it. That's all I can
That's
tell you.
exactly right.
Won't make her do it.
We will not make her do it. But if she decides she wants to come out and have a pop with us or show up at Porco and stuff, it's always a good time. It's super sweet that she does it. So she's commenting about the Patreon. And she goes, you guys need to have a better level. And I went, what? She goes, you need to have a better level. Something more than just, you're giving us $10 and we're going to send you a box of shit. And the rule is, so you don't have somebody sign up at the $10 level and you send them a box of shit and then they shut off their membership forever. And you've sent them a box of shit that's worth $50, but they've only spent $10. So we have a rule on our Patreon that says you got to be a Patreon member for like 6 months to get your box of stuff, just so we don't get hosed, right? And that's just mostly self-preservation. But then Renee keeps track of that. Yeah. And as long as you've provided us with an address that isn't a complete fucking fake or, something, Renee will really work hard to make sure you get the stuff you want. Even the fellow that wanted a 5X T-shirt, we're not going to make him a 5X T-shirt. But
A one-off.
But it turns out he has exactly this size of a head.
Right.
So we give him a hat instead. Right. So he got a hat instead of a T-shirt. So Renee started to have these ideas like, do people really want pint glasses, or do people really want coffee mugs, or do people want hats? Like, let's get a little more granular. Let's give people some choices. Then she says we should really have a better level. Oh?
This is a contribution
Oh.
to the Patreon world.
Oh, we have, okay. So, all right, let's get through the first blatant advertising part and then we'll get to that. Okay. So occasionally people will bring gifts into the shop and say, I want this to go to Patreons. So you brought in a lowbrow sign. John brought in a big fucking coffee mug that carries about 76 ounces of fluid. The fuck is up with that thing?
It's too much.
I put it in my truck. I put it in the coffee mug holder of my truck. I can't turn right anymore. Every time I go to turn the steering wheel right, I crack my elbow on that fucking thing. I can barely see past it. It's a very tall coffee mug.
I'm like, ah.
It's a big coffee mug. Anyway,
Here you
so
go.
we've had people here bring things in and say, hey, this would just be fun for a giveaway. Awesome. So Renee comes up with this fucking idea. God bless her. So Renee says, hey, how come you guys aren't doing something a little better, right? A level of Patreon that's maybe a little higher than $10 a month.
I like that idea.
Because we kind of decided we didn't really want to make Patreon be like, you know,
We felt like we were cheating people at $10 a
We
month.
did.
Let alone more.
we did. We feel pretty guilty about $10 a month. So to bring people back around, if you haven't,
I thought there was a $20 layer.
So we made one. Okay. So we had $1 a month, which is totally just, hey, dude.
$12 for a year.
Exactly. I will admit that I am a fan, and that is
Still overpaying.
That is yes, and I'm still overpaying. And so we've got a very small number of people that kick down $1 a month.
Oh, yeah.
So we got a few people that kick down $1 a month.
I think I'm going to subscribe.
That's toilet paper money.
Well, just for the record,
Oh, you shit once a week.
Steve, we've seen your toilet paper. All right. Paper
so anyway,
consumption.
we're not gonna cover that too deeply. Party member. Now, party member is more of a shit, right? Party member is more. This is the game on. So for $5 whole a month, $5.
Prerequisite, you had to smell carb cleaner for a few weeks.
Okay, all right. For $5 a month, 60 whole dollars a year, Renee gives you a box of goodies.
Yeah.
After 6 months. So when you've only invested $30,
$30, yeah.
you're getting a box of goodies that I guarantee has a street value of at least $30. Okay.
31.
At least. The shipping is more than that. Okay. And this is anywhere in the continental U.S. only. So, you know, we love you there in Poland, but we're not sending you a box of shit. Come and see us. We'll buy you a beer. Okay. That's $5. You get the party box. The $10 limit is where we kind of gave a little too much access. The $10 limit gets you the box.
And
You get the box, but you also get the phone number, the bat phone, at the $10 level. So, and as if you have heard this podcast, you know that we will sometimes and usually talk about him, whatever. All right. And that number, text in your suggestions, wants, and needs. Thanks to Renee, we have a new level. The level is $20 a month. Yeah. Yeah. This is no longer
Child's play.
We're not dicking around anymore, folks.
John comes over and cuddles with you.
Close.
Or wrestles with
Pretty close. This level is called the fucking legend level.
the Fukin.
And if you're at the fucking legend level, you're going to get the party pack. Sure. You're going to get the hotline.
Yeah.
You're also going to get 2 tickets, 2 tokens that you can cash in. And you can get 10 minutes on this podcast.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Hear your own voice
You're just saying, all right, now
a week later.
we need
Yeah.
more. We need more tech.
2 times. 2 times.
Oh, no. It ain't going to be fancy, Steve.
No.
We've done this before.
Oh, okay.
Remember that time I called in from Hawaii?
Yeah.
Hold your phone up to the microphone.
Well, that's a whole different.
Okay,
Is
so
that
that's
the
what it
bill?
is.
Is that the bill I got in the mail today?
It's my
Yeah, we're gonna
My
charge you
ticket-
retroactively for being on the podcast.
my ticket. I get to talk about whatever I want. Ooh, that could be spicy.
So I'm gonna read this.
We
so-
gotta
so-
follow the rules.
Well, I'm gonna read this so you'll have at least 5,000 fucking witnesses. Get the full swag box from the $10 party pack level. Get the secret phone number also, but also get 2 call-in credits per year. You get to be on the actual show, even if you suck.
Which it probably will, but
We will answer your questions or suffer through your rant for a minimum of 10 minutes. Yes, you can even use these credits for a live appearance At Cleveland Moto, we believe you can't buy your friends, but you can buy your friends a drink or two once a month. Benefit kicks in at 6 months.
It can't be any worse than having John here.
So
All right, settle down over there, Hoffert.
here's the trick. Yes, for $20 a month, 6 months, $120, you've got 2 tickets to be on this show. 20 minutes. I don't care if you want to sell banana hammocks.
And I don't think any of us have ever been like punctual.
No.
So that 20 minutes.
Oh, we'll
is-
probably if you're great or really bad, we're gonna let you run long.
Yeah.
If you're in for at all, you're probably going to just, hang on. You're going to hang on the line for the whole podcast for all I care.
Again,
But you have to sit next to Johnny Mac the whole time.
again,
The gas man.
On his lap.
I just
Lap.
so thanks to Renee, the idea of giving somebody access
Yeah.
to be on the show, and you guys have read the rules. Go ahead, Chris.
I think if
Yeah.
they make their way to Cleveland, Ohio,
Yeah.
perhaps they would be bonused with a drink or two at Porco's Lounge.
Renee, now hold on. Renee said, Renee already said, and you guys, I'm not kidding. I shot this down. I vetoed this.
Yeah.
I vetoed this. Renee said a one-time $500 donation,
Holy shit.
and we pay your tab at Porco.
But that could be eaten up in 5 minutes.
Again, I vetoed it.
Yeah.
I vetoed it.
Well, as did Stefan.
Now, what you have to say is,
Yeah.
we'll pregame at Schmedley's, which we pick up, and then
That's fucking hilarious. We're going to pregame at Smedley's.
which we pick up.
Which we pick up.
Yep.
And then to Porco.
Then the Porco.
Right. Renee did have the idea. She was like, yeah, for $500, they get to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
But then after the podcast, we host them at Porco and we pay their tab.
$7.50, and you can have sex with John.
But they'd go down pretty fast.
Again,
Think about it.
we've all been
Think
there.
about it,
We've
yeah.
all been there.
Yeah.
This all seems too materialistic for me.
I know,
Yeah, but
exactly.
let's go.
Well, Mid-Ohio, so
that's one of
to
the-
bring it into focus,
Because look, honestly, if you showed up in Cleveland and said you wanted to stop by and sit on a podcast and have a drink with us,
Yep.
we'd probably let you. So, you know, if you have to do it remotely and you want to pay $20, that's great. We're always looking to get a little extra money.
absolutely.
It is nice that sometimes when we go to Porco, we don't have to necessarily. It's on the.
Oh, believe me.
On the listeners tab, so.
Patreons have paid our tab more than once.
I just got right now live
And that's
and
our
direct.
Thank you for hold on. We're gonna close up existing business and then we're gonna move on to that because that's
Okay.
on tonight's podcast topics. Chris said that he brought in. Open that bag. What you got, buddy? What you got back there, buddy?
This is a donation to the podcast
All right, we like that.
that you guys can use however you wish.
What is it? It looks like framed art. It is framed art.
It is framed art,
It is a motorcycle
so it'll belong to somebody.
of the Harley origin. It is a Softail with the Route 66.
66 on.
Right on. Yeah, so that is a Softail Classic with the Route 66 business.
But we should like
there?
we should dress it up a little bit.
Well, you guys are welcome to.
Oh, hold on.
I got some acrylic paint. We can add a little.
Oh, you're saying we turned it into a
like whatever we
a
want.
Tanuki original.
Everybody gets like a little time to assist,
Little airbrushing.
little little love on the.
Again.
How about this? How about this? Whoever wins it or whatever you do, they
Right.
can choose whether they want to get it unmolested or if they want to have the doll touched.
Okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying? Like that'd be kind of fun.
Do they want to
be
have
touching
it?
your doll
Do
in
they
public.
want to have it factory straight, or do they want a special Cleveland Moto limited
Right.
edition?
There's no Screaming Eagles on that thing
No,
yet.
no, that has not been touched by the marketing department at Harley Owners Group.
No.
Not at all. All right, so that's cool. So, John, as you brought up, we don't want to be taking all your monies. We want to let you know that we buy stuff and we do things.
But dude, how are you going to afford our paychecks?
So, my friends, today we got news. And the news of I can already feel the hangover setting in. Yeah. Today we found out
A
that
slow gin hangover.
boy. Today we found out that American Motorcycle Association announced the official dates for AMA Vintage Days.
And you can buy tickets starting right now.
And you can buy tickets this moment.
Now, when you look at that, what jumps out at you? First thing you see.
What's the first thing I see?
Yeah. Kenda is no longer there.
Okay. Yes, because sponsors change.
I know, but that's kind of interesting.
Sponsors do change, and that is a thing, right? So yeah, sponsors change.
I think Summit Racing is the major sponsor this year.
Permco is currently
I have meetings about
right.
it.
Yeah. So Permco.
What's the marquee of the year?
Let's talk about that. So just so everyone knows,
Jang.
CF Moto.
July 21.
If it was CF Moto, it would be perfect.
Right. July 21 through July 23, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course in Lexington, Ohio. AMA Vintage Motorcycle Days. It's on like Donkey Kong, as they say. Go ahead, renew your AMA Vintage. Do like I do and renew your fucking AMA membership just to get discounts on the tickets. Yeah. We are going to be using Patreon money to help us pay for booth space, camper space, which is what we did last year. It's no small amount of money. When you look at camper space and you look at booth space, it's not small. And Patreon money goes a long way to cover that tab. And also things like the occasional bag of ice, the occasional,
Bag of weed.
yeah, it adds up pretty quick, right?
No,
The
that's
occasional-
free. That's free.
No, the 24 pizzas delivered by a Japanese pizza delivery scooter.
Yeah.
Thank you, Patreons. Right?
We like that Japanese delivery scooter.
Fucking thing was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moto rocked that shit. And Pete was all too happy to be the official victim at 25 miles per hour, riding into downtown Lexington to pick up 20 odd pizzas. Game the fuck on.
Perfectly.
It did. It did. And I don't think we're ever going to top that as far as being what it is. Now, guys, weekend event tickets. $55. Okay, $55, and I think that might be before your AMA discount. And if you want to do swap meet, that's going to be different levels. So you can probably get into the swap meet about $140 a booth, up to a little bit more if you get a premium booth. As I talked to Dan about before the podcast, I did attempt to go on today and pay for my booth and do all the things I need to do. And very proud to say, in a good, solid AMA tradition, the website does not work.
Surprise.
So
surprise.
asking old white men to design a website that works that's kind of asking a lot.
They're like, what's a website supposed to look like? Well, like the flyer, but on web. It's like,
I liked when I made the website and the kid somebody remarked, "This is like somebody was in prison and came out and made for 20 years and made a website." It's so cool. It's hilarious.
Oh,
It's like
shit.
the website that time forgot.
Today I went to the link that they sent me. So if you're out exploring the internet on your own, you get what you get. But when somebody sends you a link and says, "Hey, we'd like to take your money," click on this button.
and you're excited to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's a link that you're like, all right, I've been waiting for this guy.
Yeah, right. So if you do, click on it. So you click on it, and it takes you to the thing. And I'm not an idiot. I know how to log in. Right? We all been there, right? So it's funny. So I log in. And here's the thing. It tells you, tap and drag the map to move the map around. Tap an available booth to select it. Once the desired booths have been selected, press continue. Well, shit, I can follow 3 instructions. Fair enough. Okay, so the first thing it says, "Welcome, Phil Waters. It appears you have an inactive membership. Active members get $50 off each booth. Visit AmericanMotorcyclist.com to join/renew." Okay, first thing. Last year, I paid for 3 years in advance.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So
That's
I'm not
that's
just a
a
member.
mistake.
I've got 3 members.
Yeah, right.
All right. Because in the AMA world, if you pay for 3 years in advance or you set up automatic renewal, you get the automatic free towing.
Did they apply it to the capital or the interest?
So a little tip, if you're signing up for your AMA membership, remember, if you prepay for 3 years in advance, $149 or $147, you get the towing, the free roadside recovery. Or if you sign up for automatic renewal on your credit card, you get the free recovery.
Just make sure they don't apply it to the principal.
There you go. Exactly. So I did, in fact, do that. So the first thing we know is broken is it appears you have an inactive membership. I don't. It's active.
So they gave you 3 last year, and not one last year for 2 more years.
So, and that did
Earl-
happen. So what
Earl
also
misapplied it.
last year I found out that I have 3 AMA memberships.
Yeah, there you go.
No, last year I found out.
Huh.
I called up and I was like, hey, what's going on? I got a notice that my membership has expired. That's bullshit. I don't throw away any emails. Here's my email thanking me for renewing my membership last year. Yeah. Well, but your membership expired. Really? What's my name? What's your name? I tell my name. Oh, are you in Cleveland, Ohio? Yep. Oh, we've got a membership in Cleveland, Ohio. Yep. We got a membership in Avon Lake. Yep. We have a membership in Willoughby. I haven't lived there in 25 years. Who's been paying that membership?
Right.
Who's been paying my AMA membership? I had 3 memberships last year.
Nice.
Sergeant Bob.
Oh, that night, November 4th, 1987.
He's still
I
paying
still
for
think
that.
about it. Somebody told me that he became Private Bob that night.
Yeah, I don't doubt it.
Yeah, that all the rank fell off his collar. Anyway.
All the privates.
Oh, right. Yeah, well, there you go. So anyway, but then also you can select the booth, right? You can select it. You really can't select it. You can try to select it. You can't select it. So again, whoever's designing your website, American Motorcycles Association, you're not
You
doing
need to
good.
hire a 12-year-old.
You hire a 12-year-old.
Yeah, this is like a template from Wix.
Oh yeah, and you can
some
type.
shit
You
like
can
that.
click in here. You can type things, and things don't happen. It's a really, really bad website. So, yay. So tomorrow morning, I will be calling them like a human and talking to Becky or Roseanne or whoever it is.
Myrtle.
Can I
Myrtle.
say something here though?
Yes.
So the website doesn't work at all, and it looks like crap, right?
Right.
But they
Right.
took the time to make the field look like mud with some grass in it.
Well, no, it's a photo.
Oh, is it?
So that's a Google Maps. That's a Google
Okay.
Earth image.
I was like, that's
So that's a
pretty
Google
good.
Earth image, and they overlaid the booth spaces.
Okay, I couldn't see it
Because
from
we,
here.
like John and I've had very long meetings about which booths we like to be in.
Yeah.
And it turns out that these ones up here in particular, we're not going to say the number because, you know,
Yeah, you don't
a
wanna give it away.
vindictive non-Patreon member might try to steal them from us.
Yeah, we don't know.
But John and I know exactly where we like to have our booth.
Down
And-
by the toilets, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, what browser are you using right now?
Well, thank you for bringing that up,
Because
conspiracy theory, Steve. Yes, because I tried opening this so I'm using Google, but I also tried using it on the same exact link that they gave me.
But have you
using
used Duck Duck Quack yet?
MSN.
'Cause that
I
one-
also tried Firefox and Thunderbird.
Well, I'm saying that
yep.
like the EPA works only on. It used to only work on Explorer.
Correct. Yep.
And then now
Yep.
it may only work on Edge because of the way it handles the
Right.
code.
Thank you. You're right. And
I mean, I don't know if that's right. You're more an expert on that than me, Dan.
in a stunning moment of clarity, I just opened up Edge so we can acknowledge that Microsoft may rule the world, and maybe somebody designed a website that was intentionally designed to not let their who would design a website so that Google couldn't use it. Chrome couldn't use it. So anyway, that's fine. Okay, I acknowledge that. If you think that Chrome shouldn't be honored, that's fair enough.
No, I'm not saying that
No,
this is
no.
what the problem
Look,
is.
no,
but
I
I'm
didn't-
saying usually Chrome works because Chrome is like the insidious,
Right.
privacy stealer of
Exactly.
the world.
So here we are using Microsoft Edge, and we have the exact same experience. So it is bad in both Chrome and Edge and Microsoft. So there you go. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Isn't there like usually like March is when they usually do it though, or something like? Or what
It's
happens in March?
it tends to be February-ish when we book our sites, and it's usually March before they get shit figured out. So that's not uncommon, I guess. So that's my shout out to the folks at AMA. Get your shit together. We'd love to give you some money, because I'd straight up would have no problem giving you a lot of money today to get my flag stuck in this map pretty early.
Right.
Because clearly, here's the weird thing, John. There's always this thing about like if you sign up today, because you're an experienced veteran who's done this before, we'll give you last year's spot. And so John and I would normally look at this map, and 60% of this map would be taken by people who've said, "I want last year's spot." That's the first right of refusal if you're a previous vendor and you've had the spot. And
And you have a 3-year membership too, or automatically renewing membership.
thank you
to
very
that.
much. Right. If I've done all the silly things you want me to do, you should give me the little kiss
Give
on
me a reach around.
Yeah, thank you. Give me the reach around that says we like having you and we want you to have your same booth as before.
They reached around, they couldn't find anything.
But again, if you've ever been to AMA Vintage Days before and you know that it's Thursday and you're trying to get onto the property and find your booth, you'll know that is what's the right term? Is it a clusterfuck?
I don't know. I thought
Many times they don't have the.
I think you guys have been doing it very well. I mean, maybe for other people, but
Many times we've gone in and as late as 4 p.m. on Thursday night, the numbers haven't been written in the booths yet.
I think you have to have an open mind.
Yes, you do.
And just be like, oh yeah, you're gonna get. Oh yeah. There's gonna be a line. There's gonna be this, and as long as you are just surf the wave.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
Isn't it more snafu?
Yeah, situation normal, all fucked up. That's pretty
Foobar.
good. Foobar, fucked up beyond all
preparation
recognition.
is key. Having
normal
your
situation
names
is to
on
be
lists,
fucked up.
like
in that
all the
case,
stuff that we do, getting signed up
Yep.
and having your name on the vendors list and having your name on the
Literally going there the morning of and
press
being
passes and stuff like
I'm
that.
holding no
passes.
paper.
Yeah.
So going and press passes be damned. Even if you've bought your tickets,
Be damned.
if you're not standing there holding paper, my friend, you are fucked. Yeah. Because the people respond so much better to I'm holding something that has a barcode on it.
I can
The
scan
old white
that.
men?
Yep, I can scan that. And well, it's everybody. It's volunteers, it's young kids, it's women, it's everybody who's volunteering to help out. And all they want to do is get you and your hokey ass trailer away from the gate. Because there's two stages. There's waiting at the gate, and then there's waiting for people to jockey trailers around in the campsite and in the swap meet.
Well, and then you also last year, because like I had that debacle when I got there. I mean, we were trying to be kind of snaky, but
You moved in a day before the event was even open for people who worked there.
I understand.
Okay.
But I'm just saying. So coming
They
back,
were still getting done with the truck pull.
So there's the
you showed up.
So this is the premise.
They were still
of
weeding.
his complaint.
No. So I was
You were
waiting.
doing naked somersaults.
I
in the
showed
field.
up a day early with no credentials,
Yeah.
with caution tape.
Yeah. So let me bitch a little bit.
No. This has nothing to do with me.
No,
I was
yeah,
up
yeah.
getting paperwork for I think Nick or somebody.
Yeah,
We're doing
right,
that.
right.
Sounds like you.
But no. But here was the thing. So to your point, there's these fucking dudes that pull in and they tell them to go over there,
Right.
and the dudes won't,
No.
and then they leave their thing there, and then they get out,
Yeah.
and then they leave,
Right.
And so then,
Never to be seen
now
again.
there's 9,000 people in line. They can't get around him, and they find the guy, and he's like 100 yards away, and he's got a walker, and like, and so like, he's like, they were like, "Come on, sir, you have to move your thing." He's like, "Fine," and then, like. It seriously took 20 minutes for him to get from where he was over to the thing. There's people.
Play to
like-
your audience, man.
Yeah, dude, it was insane.
Play to your fucking audience.
It is AMA Vintage Day.
Yeah.
We
See, this is what you get when you stop me. You stopped me. You made me get out.
I was
had
up
to go pee.
I was up to full speed, motherfucker.
It's bad.
Not fooling around AMA Vintage Days is worth it. I don't care what you have to do to be there. I assure you it is worth it.
It's worth something.
It doesn't suck. If you have a bad time at AMA Vintage Days,
It's your own fucking
yeah,
fault.
know
you
what?
really could.
I want to try a new angle this year.
Oh?
Just not for the
Farts are
whole
gonna
thing,
smell
not
like
for the whole
toilet
thing.
Candy.
Hey, Hof.
If
You
we
can't
have
eat a whole fuck.
if we have any listeners that are racing on road or in the dirt or something, let us know. I want to like be a support crew for some of the listeners that are racing. Like,
So
it'd be-
Sleepy says he'd like to be your umbrella girl.
Yeah.
All right.
No, but
Fair
I'd like
enough.
to get footage.
Well,
I'd
it'd
like
also
to-
be nice to, like do an interview or
Yeah,
like
interview
hey,
and talk to
yeah.
him, like,
what are you
or like
doing?
even like be in the pits and see what the experience is of like going and feel that energy of like getting out like this right before you get on the track and stuff like that'd be it's something.
And now down to Chrissy KROMKE in the pits.
One of the.
You guys remember that name? Chrissy KROMKE?
Yeah, I do. What is that from?
That's the old pit racing British guy.
Oh, it's next to Jackie Stewart. and
Chrissy
fucking-
KROMKE in
Yeah.
the pits.
Yeah.
I am going to say that one of my Hail Jesus moments when I was so impressed with the Vintage Days experience, when I put the cherry on top, I'm impressed. Barrel racing is a disaster.
Yeah.
Barrel racing, I'm shocked and amazed every year that 73 people don't die.
Right.
because for whatever reason, it all works. And it's fucking weird, man. Yeah. It's weird. Whether it's raining or muddy or dry and hard and clay and the what happens there in
dark.
Yeah, or dark with fireworks shooting at you and golf carts and side-by-sides.
Well, the last day, the guy had the
Right.
fucking Thunderdome fireball shooting like 80 feet in the air behind the thing.
Again.
Fucking great.
Every year that somebody doesn't die, I go, fuck, we did it. But here's where barrel racing to me hit a new level last year. Was at some point of the 26 hours of AMA Vintage Days that never stops.
Right.
You know, it's just like, and it never, ever stops. Nope. But it does. It does. At some point, somebody, and I don't know who this guy is, but he has got the charisma of Elvis Presley, the balls of,
King Kong.
the dude goes out and stops barrel racing. Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
This happened a lot. The guy runs out and he stops barrel racing. Why? So they can do a hole shot.
Oh.
Somehow, this guy with gorilla testicles goes out and waves at this. This is Bhopal, India on a bad traffic day.
Yeah.
And this guy goes out in front of this
Bhopal.
and he stops all of it. And he stops all of it and goes, hole shot, hole shot. And I pulled the picture up. Somehow or another, if you line all of barrel racing, because barrel racing is what? It's 400 yards, 500 yards?
Yeah, and it goes from like a mini bike through an Africa Twin.
Yes. And so somebody manages to stop this parade of idiots and get this parade of idiots lined up handlebar to handlebar. Which then you realize how many idiots are out there because now they're lined up.
Yeah, not spaced out.
And there's a lot of them.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of them. And everybody agrees to this consensually. Consent.
Yeah, they gave.
And they all get up on the line, and this dude stands out in front of them with no equipment, no gate, no flag, just a beer
And
and a cigarette and an idea, and he's going to rule the world.
He doesn't know why we're all tripping on the whole consent thing.
Oh, well, we'll explain.
We'll have to explain.
So
it
anyway,
at some point.
Anyway, this guy goes out and he gets everybody fired up, and we're all out there, and I did it several times. And what do? You get crazy. You're revving your shit to 9,000 RPM. You're wearing flip-flops, Crocs at the very best. Yeah. You're wearing your DOT bandana. You may or may not have a beer in your pocket.
Right.
And you're out there at 7,000, 9,000 RPMs. Come on, man. Come on. Drop the flag, man. Drop the flag. And this dude gives you the greatest Olivia Newton-John start you've ever seen. He winds it up and he drops it. And we all go like hell-bent for leather, 100 meters to a turn that can best be described as dangerous.
Yeah.
Ruddy, nasty, grabs your bike, makes you fall down. Yep. But we're going into that turn 27 wide. Anytime you go 27 wide into turn one, you've lived. You're there. You're experiencing it.
Especially with like 94% of those are not people that actually have the skills to be riding.
No. They're either skill level 12, 2 above best, or they're skill level 2 and liquored up.
Yeah.
It's everything.
But riding well out of there.
Well out of their league. John and I watched a guy on a Yamaha XS650 jump the fire for an hour and a half and never drop below 7,000 RPM.
Most of the time,
on street tires.
Having at least one hand and 1 foot off of the bike.
So true. And this guy was shit-faced when he showed up, and we kept feeding him liquor.
He was operating that bike like you would operate a 3-wheeled Harley golf cart.
He was.
He was tiller handling the bike.
He was giving
Whiskey
this
throttling
guy,
it.
Yeah.
Thing just,
I've seen people mow the yard.
Tiller handling.
Yeah. This guy was giving the least amount of attention he could be giving to the situation, hitting a wooden ramp and jumping at least a 7-foot fire every single time. He's doing figure eights and missing. Have you ever tried to miss somebody who's walking across a field? It's pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
But if that person is shit-faced drunk, right? If that person is shit-faced drunk, it's remarkable how hard it is to miss them. Yeah, they will always stagger right into your path.
Yeah.
There were 93 people shit-faced drunk. It looked like zombies 28 days later out there. And this guy on the XS650 is weaving through them artfully with the least amount of attention possible. Whiskey throttle.
Well, that's what when people get hammered enough and they're on a small enough bike.
Yeah.
When they get the speed bump wobbles, but they're so hammered that it just works.
just
Did you
never goes
see?
away.
And so the bike is just going like this, and they just end up going around. And you're like, this guy's gonna kill himself. And then after 15 laps, you're like, he's not gonna kill
He's
himself.
not. John and I were waiting for this guy to die for about 6 hours.
Yeah.
We got so bored with watching this guy win. And like an 8-year-old kid on a dirt bike shows up.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, can I jump your fire? And John's like, have at it.
Not my fire.
Not my fire.
It's everybody's
The
fire.
fire department's already put it out. Yeah. We had to build it back up.
We take no liability if you
Right.
landing in the
Can
fire.
I jump your fire? I'm surprised you're not jumping the fire right now.
Yeah.
So that dude somehow didn't hit the kid. And at one point, the kid's doing the approach on the jump, and the guy's jumping it from the landing ramp onto the launching ramp. It was a bad idea.
Yeah.
He never fell down.
No, I'm like, this guy's gonna kill himself. He's going down. He's going. Nope.
No.
Never went down.
And he disappeared.
And then he'd flitter away.
Yeah, he
And then
disappeared.
flitter back in. And there he comes
Well,
again.
the dude disappeared for easily a half an hour. We lost him.
Yeah.
And he came back with a headlight on and no seat.
No seat.
So he took the seat off the bike and put a headlight on because there was no battery in that fucking thing. Yeah. And the headlight had about 1 candle power. So he came back with a headlight on his head.
A safety light.
Safety light. He came out with a headlight on and he took his seat off. And he proceeded to do the exact same thing. The pipes were cherry red. Like it was an
Because it was like in first or second gear, just
never
almost
changed
full
gears.
Almost full throttle.
Yeah.
Though, just like
never changed gears. And we're sitting, I mean, we were having a great time managing a party of about 100 and some people.
Yeah, as always.
In AMA Vintage Days, having a good time like we do. But it got to the point where it was like people are kind of wandering into the party because it's dark and our fire's 60 feet tall. And people are wandering in, and I was like, well, you got to step back. Why? Because this is where he turns. What do you mean? And you're like,
shit.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why. Because we've been here long enough to know that's where he turns.
You know what I'm kind of excited about?
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited about being old enough that I get to watch young dudes kill themselves now.
Okay.
while you watch yourself kill yourself.
Okay.
Oh,
I spent a lot of last year's AMA Vintage Days injured.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. As I readjust my scar.
But this is like,
Right.
we're injuring ourselves now doing things like just riding.
I blew my. I literally.
stuff.
I put myself on the DL on Thursday night.
I saw that. I was there.
pretty soon.
I didn't. I wasn't even loaded up. I wasn't even liquored up.
You're an overachiever.
I was an overachiever. But I did get to spend. Okay.
6 hours in the ED.
Costs and benefits, right? Costs and benefits. The cost.
Yeah.
I got a scar for the rest of my life that only a few people are ever going to see.
You still didn't have a piece of you flicked on you. So
Kind of weird.
You did.
Kind of weird.
piece of him
Who
flicked
flicked that
at
on
you.
you?
that would be Johnny Mac.
Oh.
But
He's
I
like,
think
well,
a little
if I had to look at his balls, you get to wear them.
a little piece fell out whenever we disrobed, and I picked it up, and I'm like, oh, look, it's Phil.
A little piece of my skin fell
And I'm
out.
like, what did you do? I was like,
So since you had it made into an earring, if you look over here.
There was a little glob of chicken fat.
So I have to tell you that and I mean, last year, because of Bourbon Fairy, because of all the things, because of all the things,
Nasty
the
bourbon fairy.
93-hour fireworks display that never stopped,
right.
because of Burnout Pit, because of all the things. Last year's AMA Vintage Days was not,
will never be matched.
well, we said that about the one before.
Right.
Right. So last year's
Raise
was
that bar,
it was,
baby.
Yeah, it was not a high. Last year was not like, okay, we've had better. No, last year was again another 11, right? But it was the first time ever I got to see it as a disabled
Veteran.
American veteran.
AMA veteran.
Also true, but I got to see it sort of as a spectator.
Yeah.
As like, I'm just the
Well,
guy.
it was nice that you didn't have to do any of the bullshit with, with any of the sponsors.
Yes,
with,
right.
You
yeah.
weren't doing.
I was off the clock last year.
No zero, no
Yeah,
nothing. Just
I
whatever.
had no jobs last year.
We spent a total of 20 minutes at the swap meet. I'm sure this is the first year maybe I spent more time there.
Oh,
than
you definitely did.
Yeah.
You spent way more time at the swap meet than I
Yeah, you
did.
and Dustin were fixing shit and rooting through stuff. And
But
Look, hero of the
because
hero of
he
the
usually
weekend.
does
Yeah.
spend
Yeah.
like
a lot of time.
A lot of
I
time
know,
at the swap meet.
I spend a lot of time at the swap meet because I want to sell all that shit. This year, so we do have to warn people. So this year, Dan's trailer is getting full of everything that's in this building that we don't want to see anymore.
right. Well,
So-
you have a lot after James, right? All that.
Well, you know, James left behind a certain legacy.
Yeah.
A bunch
That
of parts
you're
that
getting
got
rid of?
a bunch of parts that got ordered for people who never picked them up,
Right. So that's what I'm gonna say. You're gonna have.
and he didn't. You know, so it again. So yes, this year we're gonna have the tarps. This year
You
we're
got a
gonna,
lot of like buy 2 bikes, make 1 bike free. Like
yes, yeah.
bike with a title,
Yeah.
bike
Yeah.
smash,
Yeah.
take the motor out of this. You know, like you got some stuff.
We got some stuff, and we also have for the first time ever, we're gonna have the $20 tarp and the $10 tarp, and we're gonna keep that. We're gonna keep that populated. And Renee's been doing a beautiful job of holding up a part, and I go, Moto Guzzi V7. And she goes, okay. And we have a box that says Moto Guzzi V7 on it.
Nice.
And Renee holds up a part, and I go, Royal Enfield C5. And she goes, all right. And she puts in a box that says Royal Enfield C5 on
You're
it.
already ahead of most other vendors.
Thank you. Exactly. So you can walk up to my booth and go, I'd like to buy a Moto Guzzi V7 part. And I go, the entire box
Right there.
Is right there.
is right there. You don't buy Lego one at a time. You buy the Lego
the
by the
whole
garbage
fucking
bag.
kit.
Right. That's how you buy it. So that's what we're going to do for AMA Vintage Days next
Dude,
year.
you should make like people love mystery boxes. Mystery V7 box, $250, guaranteed $300 value.
Oh, the shit that we're. Oh, God. I threw a $400 ECU. Brand new.
Yep.
Ordered for a customer who never came and got it.
Yep.
$400 ECU. That's going to Mid Ohio. So for somebody who has a V7 circa 2009 all the way up to 2014, right? That's a very expensive item. And if you happen to have one of those sitting on the shelf as a spare, that wouldn't be a bad thing, right? So that 10 years from now, you're not trying to find
$10
one.
box sounds like something Chris Smith needs to buy.
Oh man, we got takeoff exhaust systems from all kinds of bikes, right? We got shit. Yeah.
So Chris needs to make his bike go faster so he won't ride it faster.
Well,
Ouch.
I feel like the joke. I was joking. I was like, "Fuck the swap meet. Let's just set up the campsite." Because anybody who's been there knows the campsite can be a better buying environment than the swap meet can, right? So you can put the bikes in the swap meet with the phone numbers on them and stuff like that and handle that shit remotely. But for all the silly stuff, like anything on this tarp is $20. Aside from the fact that it takes up so much square footage,
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
Yeah.
the campsites are kind of packed.
They're kinda packed.
You know, we don't-
as much as when we got there, we had a football field.
Yeah.
By the end of the weekend, we felt a little tight in there.
totally.
You know, so all of our friends show up and
Tight.
good stuff, right?
Kawasaki Z1.
Yeah.
Just sold at the Mecum.
Yeah.
Just guess. I mean, guess. What do you think?
130.
I was gonna. Yeah. I was actually in the 100K range because people are just ridiculous.
47.
$47,000.
That's a deal and half the price.
Oh my God. Mecum's Mecum's a very hard thing to square yourself with because, you know, you're into old stuff, you're into weird stuff. You can look at bring a trailer auction for like a cool kick-ass 1972 Moto Guzzi, and on a bring a trailer auction, it'll only go for like $4,200 with a title. And then you see one on Mecum a week later for $40,000.
Well, that's what some guy posted a scooter. It's like, it's another one of those things like, it's
Yeah.
not a rabbit, but it looks like a rabbit. It's like one of those long, snouty nose.
Is that the Harley? The one that was just up?
No,
The
no.
Italian Harley?
No, it's just a big, I don't know.
Anyway, yeah, there was.
But anyways,
yeah.
but no, but so they found out that it actually had a Honda Helix underneath it. So like, no, but they didn't lie about it.
Ah, they just didn't. Yeah,
You know, they did that.
Yeah.
It's still sold for like $12,000.
Mecum, and
fucking
actually,
crazy.
because at Mecum, that was the cheapest thing that sold that week or that day.
Probably, yeah,
right?
right.
So again, play to your room, and somebody's like, it's only $12,000. You know, the kids would like that.
Yeah, right.
And they buy it.
Gov Deals has a 914
Oh yeah.
for 10 grand.
North
Dan.
Royalton Police Department has a 914 for.
Dan, hold
less
that
than
up. Look how nice that looks.
Oh, that looks beautiful.
Is that a beautiful cider right there?
Is that a Dickens cider?
That's a
Is that a Dickens?
That's the biggest Dickens cider I've ever seen.
I'll tell you. There's nothing better than waking up to a Dickens cider. Yeah.
That's a beautiful cider.
Even kids like to wake up to Dickens cider in Europe anyway.
I'm not quite old enough, but someday I'd like to have a Dickens cider.
Exactly. Right. Oh, God. We
Hey,
are
did I
fucking
mention
deplorable.
anything on the podcast? Was it maybe, I don't know if that happened this week or this, about the Honda XR150L
No, but
that's coming to America in 2023?
Coming to America.
Honda XR.
wait a second. My brain is putting together a picture of what this bike is.
It's been around in Australia
Yeah,
and
I was going to
Asia
say, this has been...
for a number of years, but they're
Yeah.
supposed to bring it here to America.
And I think... so L, I see L, and I always think it's going to have a metal gas tank,
Yeah, street legal.
right? Street legal. It's going to have mirrors and whatnot.
Is that what the Hawk copied? Like that $200.
You mean the Lee Fan Hawk or whatever? Like,
The
a-
200s,
whatever,
the
those
China
are two.
Hawk?
Yeah, the 2,000 or $1,200
China Hawk?
250cc bike.
Interestingly enough, they say this bike is manufactured for Honda by a Chinese
It
company
is. I know. Yeah, I know the bike.
in Mexico.
No shit.
I don't get that.
No, I do. And so here's the reason. And this, I hate to bring up chicken tax and Trump things and whatever, but this is why this is. So yes, this is a Chinese company who builds this bike. This is a Chinese company that was
Not
licensed.
Sunray, Sonicho, or something like that it was.
Shine Ray. So it's Shine Ray with another name. They're licensed to manufacture Honda in China, and that is a big part. And just so you know, if you live in Australia, a lot of the bikes you get come from China because it's there.
Yeah.
Right. You can ship it across the water. So consequently, it puts Australia in a kind of an awkward position where they're buying a lot of stuff from China because Japan's not as easy. Okay. So yes, this bike is in fact a Chinese manufactured vehicle. It is going to be assembled in Mexico to get it past the chicken tax.
That's what I figured.
So that you're not going to pay a 50% tariff on the bike.
Manufactured in Mexico means all the pieces are made in China and put together in Mexico.
It's going to turn it from a chicken tax penalty
Yeah.
to a NAFTA thumbs up, just like that. It's going to magically make that bike made in Mexico.
So that puts the price down around $3,500 maybe.
You know what?
Or 4,000.
Steve,
under
This is billed
4,000?
as an agricultural bike.
And you know what? Absolutely. In Australia, it's absolutely a ranching bike. It's a ranch bike for real.
I watched some videos on it, and one guy's like, this bike has pretty good power for a 150, on par with maybe a 250. Or
Well, wouldn't that just be the coolest thing in the fucking world to have a cheap, affordable 150 with a Honda badge on it? So later on, you could have the privilege of buying parts at a triple markup. Because, I buy Honda parts. I buy a lot of Honda parts.
I would like to hope that even if it's coming from China,
Right.
if it's going to get the Honda badge, it has some quality control. and stuff
I absolutely guarantee that's a real thing.
that it's
You should be very much aware of that. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. And
it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be undifferentiable from a Shine Ray. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I couldn't.
indistinguishable.
Indistinguishable
Yeah.
is what I was trying to say.
And I do, and
I said undifferentiable.
I love it.
when I'm looking at both of these, and
Could
obviously,
not differentiate.
and
between
obviously, I'm more
two.
excited about the CRF 300 LS.
That was the other thing that I was
Right.
going to say, that they've actually, it's a basically lower seat height.
It is, yeah. And so when I consider something like a CRF 300 LS, wow, I mean, that's a bike that you could commute on every single day.
Have they fixed the crank problems in that now?
Yes, they have.
Yeah, I'd like to think by now.
By now, they've had plenty of fucking time to get that shit sorted out. The 150 they're claiming is 12 and a half horsepower. So that's fine. It's so the company name that we were hunting for was Sandiro.
Sandito.
Sandiro.
Sandiro.
Sandiro. Sanrio is Hello Kitty. Sandiro is Honda Kitty.
Okie dokie.
That's it. So
Okie dokie.
it's electric starter, but it also comes with the kicker.
Yeah. That was neat.
yeah.
I was like, oh.
And I'm sure it's EFI. I got to believe it's EFI. Is it not?
I think I saw a picture of a carburetor.
It's a carburetor. It is a carburetor, my friends. Okay. Well, then it better fucking be cheap. Right? So if you're going to put a carburetor on a motorcycle in today's market, you had better have a price tag low enough that I can look past the carburetor.
It will take me 2.2 seconds of seeing one in the real life to know whether, it could come from China. I don't care.
Yep.
But if it feels like a Honda.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like, you'll know it'll be either, because lots of Hondas come from other places. It's just
Absolutely. And when you consider that this bike has been in the market in Australia for quite a while, that's a good sign. So that's pretty cool. So we like that.
Speaking of new bikes,
Yeah. No, I'm good, thanks.
I got to witness. I was gonna participate, but then I decided to just to lay back and just watch.
Yep.
Pretty good argument between, I think, about a 65-year-old Harley guy and a kid, and they were arguing on the announcement of the 350cc Harley made in India or China.
You mean that story we broke about a year and a half ago?
Exactly.
All right, fair enough.
So, but they
All right.
came back over. But this is so awesome. So this dude's like, they post a thing, and this guy comes out. And he's like, I've been riding Harleys for 50 years, and I can tell you, they ain't gonna sell one motorcycle. Nobody in the United States rides a motorcycle that's under 300 or 500 cc's or whatever, right? And some guy's like, you ever hear of the Grom? He's like, I'm not talking about dirt bikes. And so then the dude posts the numbers. He was like, for your information, in 2021 or 2022, Honda sold 750,000 Groms in the United States. Harley Davidson sold 124,000 motorcycles worldwide. So like their clientele has no fucking clue that, like, people just ain't buying Harleys anymore, buddy.
And that's true. Yeah, I mean, oh man. That's tough, man. That is tough. So according to Honda, 750,000 Groms have been sold.
In the United States.
It doesn't say that. It just
the one I
says
did.
total. Yeah. Yeah, it just says total unit sales, 750K. I don't know. I mean, I really have no idea.
Well, I mean, in Menor alone, there's fucking 120,000 of them. So.
Oh, I can assure you, 100,000 have come by my shop.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I like. The hilarious thing is, I personally won't buy a Grom,
Right.
but I love working on them.
Yeah.
Because they are not hard to service.
Right.
And remember when I talked earlier about the Honda parts going up about 300%? Yeah, that's legit.
The bogus thing is that the new Grom looks like the Bulldog they were going to bring out.
It does look like the Bulldog.
The Bulldog would have been a cool bike if they brought that out.
Because it had a real motor. I feel like that Honda Bulldog, had they actually brought the Honda Bulldog out, that was a bike that we identified on this podcast as being like something we might consider buying, right?
Yeah.
When that Bulldog was prototyped, everything about it was like, yeah, okay, that's uglier than fuck, but I want it. Yeah. Like, I think I legitimately want to own this motorcycle, even though it's a Lego toy.
You know what's funny? That to me, it looks like a real adventure bike. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you throw it on the ground, you just buy another like $3 piece of black plastic and slap it on the side. And stuff
okay.
Yeah, but then look at the Grom. The Grom looks just like that, only smaller.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And the thing with that Bulldog, that was back in year of our Lord 2015 when we talked about that. And that's a dual overhead cam 400cc motor in the Bulldog.
And that would have been respectable.
That would have been awesome.
Not just respectable. I think you'd have a hard time not selling that bike. I mean, straight up.
I mean, literally, legitimately, if it's that small, it's going to be lightweight. And so, like, if you're a newer rider, you could ride that fucking thing anywhere and not be scared. You know what I mean? Like, that's fucking great size.
So that brings me to, what were you saying about the world's ultimate adventure bike?
Oh, yeah, they have one.
Steve?
Yeah. Oh, set for production.
So we didn't cover this. I put this up in the show notes from a couple of weeks ago, and we didn't cover it.
Buckinghamshire Bruiser.
So the Buckinghamshire, or the Buckinghamshire, right? The Buckinghamshire Bruiser, the ultimate adventure bike. So aside from this bike being an exercise in red and white.
And it looks like it's from G-Force from 1986.
I was going to say, if you saw a picture of this,
Delta Force.
I would say that this bike is from 1984.
Yeah.
Right? Looking at a picture of this thing. So this is not from 1984, although the graphics are. It is not from 1984, although everything else about it is 1984. This is a 1984 Honda XR650 Fever Dream, right?
Seriously, yeah.
Okay, so here's what it really is. The 30th anniversary of an XR, exactly, or an XL. So what this is, Marlin Motorcycles has announced a 10-bike production run. Okay. So they're building 10 of these. Not one, not two, not three, but 10. 10 of these motorcycles. And this motorcycle is called TUAB, the Ultimate Adventure Bike. It's literally embroidered on the fucking saddle.
Isn't it supposed to be GOAT? Greatest of all time?
Greatest of all time.
I think they're making 9 too many.
Don't ever give an American what they ask for.
I know.
Right. Don't ever give an American what they ask for.
Don't call it. Don't
Holy
tell
twisted
me.
throttled out.
I know.
Oh, it is the king of twisted throttle, Moto, all of it. And SW Motec, just game on. And this is, you know what this is? This is where I'm going to get my next 3-inch scar. Is that piece of 45-degree angle iron sticking off the back of the motorcycle right where I would run over my own thigh when I'm falling over at 12 miles an hour.
I mean, the giant metal boxes that they don't show you mount to that.
All right. So here we go. They're going to start with a 1995 Honda NX650 Dominator.
Yeah, of course they are.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Why?
Wait, not a brand new XL. No. Okay. Oh.
So they've sourced 10 of these. That's
They
why there's
have.
only 10.
That's right. Well, this is the UK. They're thick on the ground there.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
not so thick on the ground here.
Yeah.
So I love this idea. The brief for the build was to create a bike that was light enough to throw around without having to worry about picking it up when you drop it, but also totally utilitarian. So it had everything you needed to go around the world, to go across the world. Okay, that's pretty cool. Starting with the customer's NX650, Marlin stripped the original bodywork before modifying the frame, redesigned the subframe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, really very thoughtful. Pretty badass. 2 auxiliary fuel tanks are added, 1 for water, 1 for gasoline. Yay. Big ass toolbox. Yay. Pretty cool. I mean, this is not a bad idea. If you simply say pure straight up utilitarian. Donor bike, Honda 650. Anybody got a problem with that? Because I don't. I don't think you can kill that motor. It's not some of the things that the Suzuki is. It's not some of the things that KLR is. But what it is it's a Honda 650. So you may not actually be able to murder that motor. Again,
You're not going to get out of this trip around the world.
please let the bike die. Please let the bike
Because
die.
I guarantee if you ride that thing around the world at some point, you'll be like, I just want it to die.
I go to these interviews with like husband and wife that have been touring around the world on KLR 650s for 5 years,
Yeah,
or
right.
and eventually somebody's like, BMW is like, if you have sponsorship opportunities, you should ride on GS, and they gave them GSs just to ride them around the planet. And why this guy who's a German cop and his wife haven't shot, killed, or gouged each other's eyes out yet, I don't fucking know. Yeah. I can spend 2 weeks with my wife in Hawaii before she's no longer entertaining. Right?
Because he's pissing on her every day.
I don't care. I seriously, look, fetishes be damned. If you're going to spend, have you ever taken a road trip with your wife for more than 4 weeks? No.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
I bet they don't have helmet-to-helmet communication. I can assure you that.
Damn fucking straight. Right. Yeah. What'd you guys?
She goes to open her helmet and it's glued shut.
What did you do with your chatterboxes? We threw them away on day one. Why? Hand signals is all we'll ever need. Yeah. That's it.
Finger signal.
This one. Tap me on the shoulder when you need to use the latrine. Otherwise,
Come on.
your luggage.
Look, they're not using the same bikes. These guys are 2-up. They're on different motorcycles. I'm sorry. They're on different motorcycles. She's on her motorcycle. His on his
Well, that's
motorcycle.
fine. That's good.
Yes, it is good. But I'm going to tell you, the reason I'm not the guy that's out like camping with you guys or going out and enjoying, because I like my private time.
I could just see it. I'm like, oh, isn't this beautiful? Hey, did you have a chance to call about your doctor's appointment? Do you know when you're going to be getting your next paycheck? And
No.
Your prostate's getting awfully large
You know,
from
when we
riding
get
around
back-
for 5 years.
we get back, there's going to be some projects to do.
Yeah. Or even that whole like, so, you know, I was thinking that for tomorrow we could start the ride at 7:30 and then do this, and this. And maybe by 11:30 we'll be able to have a break. And I figure we should be shut the fuck up.
Or even better.
That's when
I'm
I killed her,
hungry.
Your Honor.
I'm hungry.
There's nothing.
Okay,
There's
what
nothing
would
to
you
eat
like?
here.
We could have anything you want. There's lots of places.
Right.
I don't know what I want.
Yes.
Oh,
I don't know
no.
why we're in Beirut. There's no food here.
I don't know about you guys, but I've sincerely apologized to my wife in this manner, saying like, I don't know what I did, and I don't know why you're mad at me, but I'm completely sorry for whatever I did, because you're obviously mad at me.
Pussy.
The fact that you don't know, that makes her even more angry.
Oh yeah, yeah, it does. And then you know what she'll do? She won't tell me then. If you don't know, you have to figure it out.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
Fuck. I used to.
But Steve, she tells the rest of us what it was.
Oh, I'm sure she does. I used to get upset by this. Now I just don't care.
That's marital bliss. Is
Yeah,
what you're talking about.
right.
I'm a man, but I can change if I have to.
Yeah.
I guess. And that is how.
fuck's sake.
And that is how Red Green would sign off with the man's prayer, and he would just say, "I'm a man, but I can change if I have to. I guess." and not like, I mean, come on.
Yeah, it's true.
I love my wife dearly, but there is a reason why she meditates twice a day outside of my realm in a different world, in a different planet, sitting there, you know, facing out some beautiful vista, whatever. And I've got a cocktail as she's just being silent for like an hour.
Yeah.
Right. And she's being silent for an hour. And you know where I am? Usually
Marital bliss.
not next to her, you know? And that's like an hour time out in the morning, an hour time out in the afternoon.
Dude, the best thing I did for my entire family, including my marriage, was of getting that room and making that room my room.
Your room.
I am the
Your
happiest
office.
fucking guy now.
Yeah.
Because in the summer, I got the garage. But
Yes,
in
you
the
do.
winter,
Absolutely.
I'm going out there, but it's not
Yeah.
like I'm going out there every day after work. It's cold and
No,
shitty.
you're absolutely right.
Why don't you ever want to do yoga with me? Do you think I want to sit there for an hour, having a woman tell me exactly what to do for a whole hour?
Anybody.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
Do you want me to look? If you-
Where he can spend his time
yeah.
with Sergeant Bob.
Polishing his 50 cal.
Polishing.
Dad.
Right. Yeah.
Sergeant Bob, you're not.
His memory might be a little shady, though, and it's actually only a 22. He's like, look at my 50 cal.
Yeah. Again.
You know,
here we go.
we have to find Sergeant Bob.
We do. Yeah. So if anybody,
he's got to circle back.
hey, hold on. We can do this. We got a lot of people on the
How
internet.
many times does a 37 you go into 60 or 18? Ask Sergeant Bob.
Sergeant Bob. Right, yeah. I was 18. So here's what we'll say. Let's enlist the firepower of the podcast. So we have two options. We can ask people to join at the $20 level, or we can ask them to find Sergeant Bob, 4th Battalion, 34th Armored Division,
I like it.
Headquarters Company,
I like it.
HQ 434 Armored Division, Mainz, Germany, FRG, back in the day, circa 1987, November 1987.
Who's gonna do it, baby?
Bring him here alive and.
One of our listeners.
No. What are you, nuts?
I was kidding.
Are you kidding me? No, we're going to interview. No, I want Sergeant Bob to be here. And I want him to bring the Barrett Light 50. Right? Because he's got some splaining to do.
And five handles
He's
of Jim
got some
Beam.
splaining to do. Oh, I'll bet you I can
Jim
drink him
Beam.
under the table now.
Yeah.
I'll bet you turnabout's fair play. That son of a bitch has got to
You're
be at
gonna
least.
turn him about.
Dude, that dude's got to be at least 60 right now.
Yeah.
If he's still walking upright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look who's doing no hands now.
If he didn't get right, yeah. Anyway, so if anybody knows who the fuck Sergeant Bob was, and again, I'm telling you right now, I do not know his last name.
50 cents for the pop machine.
I may be suffering a.
That's all it takes, though.
I may be.
Throw it out there.
I may be experiencing a PTSD related blind spot. I don't remember his last name, and I'm going to tell you in court, UCMJ. I know his name was held up in front of me a whole bunch because I didn't get up and say.
You can get the record for that court thing, right? Do the military or no?
Look, you get a free year of Patreon If you can find Sergeant Bob.
If you join at the Sergeant Bob level.
It's the new Sergeant Bob level.
I like
You
it.
know what?
There you go. There you go.
It's been
Take that, Renee.
This is what,
I got about 35.
after 6 months of membership,
I got about,
here's what you'll be looking forward to.
it's taken me about 35 years to warm up to Jim Beam.
Get another 35 to warm up
Come-
to Sergeant
come-
Bob.
You get a one-way ticket to Cleveland,
Come at me, Sergeant Bob.
where there'll be a handle of Jim Beam waiting for
Come
you.
at me, Sergeant Bob. Turnabout's fair play.
Oh, my gosh.
I won't need a 50 cal.
Don't
No. We'll just 2 men enter, 1 man leaves. That'll be the game. That'll be it.
One man might have entered.
Yeah, because I don't.
a 10-millimeter wrench.
I don't know much. I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I'm absolutely certain of this. At this point, I owe
Look at these
Sergeant
hands.
Bob a little bit.
Look at these hands.
Is that involuntary?
Look at this.
Yeah, I may be experiencing some stress at this moment. I don't know.
Well, here, I'll alleviate.
Take some deep breaths.
I'll alleviate it for
Breathe
you a
through
little
your
bit.
diaphragm.
Yeah.
My mom basically added like 10 years of therapy to my life recently as well. So we were talking about the Catholic Church and stuff and the Pope dying and all this stuff.
Sorry.
And she was like, oh, blah, blah. And the whole thing of like police touching and, doing, or priests touching and
yes.
doing stuff to boys.
Yeah.
And she goes, oh, that reminds me of Father Jacob at her parish. I'm like, yeah, thanks. She goes, remember he was the cool, all you boys used to hang out with them. I was like, okay. And he was like, remember, and he was going to take you guys on that camping trip and you didn't go and your friends did? Well, they both got touched. And I'm like, I remember going on that camping trip, but I don't remember. She's like, and she goes, oh, right, that was Jimmy that didn't go. And I was like, wait. Can we go back and talk about this? And she was like, well, I don't think you've never said anything. I'm like, I don't remember the trip. This is a problem.
You've blocked it out.
So yeah.
You've been touched.
Father Bob. Up and down.
You can add Father Bob.
He gave you the half Nelson, the full Nelson, and the father Nelson.
Jesus.
He got run out of the army, and now he's Father
that's
Bob.
horrible.
Well, let me ask you something.
Yeah.
How does a mother forget to talk about that for 40 years or whatever it was? Oh, yeah, I just kind of
Selective
forgot about
amnesia.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
you weren't her favorite child.
PTSD, selective, all the things.
Right.
Just line them up. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. There'll be an intervention at some point.
Is this a
I promise.
motorcycle podcast?
No.
No.
1-800
self-help?
No. Cleveland Moto is just where we come to talk through our shit.
And enroll in the military.
Hi, my name's Phil, and I'm a motoholic. Hi, Phil. That's it. So I would like to go out on some very, very interesting motorcycle news. Thank you, Chris, for bringing that up. That we need to do that thing. So, anybody, let's set the time machine back for 1973.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, it's 2.5 years old, ready to get crazy.
So if I said to you 1973 Moto Guzzi, Steve, if I said to you 1973 Moto Guzzi,
Ambassador.
okay, thank you, Ambassador. Great. Boom, Ambassador. Good job. John, if I were to say to you 1973 Moto Guzzi, what jumps in your head?
El Dorado.
El Dorado. Excellent. Great job. Nailed it. Anyone else got a favorite?
What does Nick have? That little V?
V7, V5s.
Five.
Right,
Yeah.
V5 Monza,
V5.
right?
That thing's
V5
beautiful,
Monza,
man.
500cc
I
V-twin.
love it. It's got real thin turn signal stock.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, it's really
very
good.
sexy.
Yeah.
But what you probably wouldn't say if I happen to say
Did they make Le Mans back then?
Le Mans? Le Mans?
I think
Le
it was
Mans?
the 80s. Or no, it was early.
It did come in later.
Yeah.
But if I said to you 1973 Moto Guzzi Interceptor, you might say, huh?
Yeah.
What the? Wait, wait.
That's a handsome
That's
looking
not right.
fella.
Wait, I mean, we're aware that there were some motorcycles that were called Interceptors.
Red, white, and blue usually.
Okay. And even if you go to Royal Enfield,
Oh, true.
there were some Royal
650.
Enfield
True.
Interceptors back in the day.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yeah.
But the only thing they could intercept were mopeds.
Yeah, it's true. Fair enough. Oh, ouch.
And anything
So-
you ride.
But it turns out, in fact, that in year of our Lord 1973, you could go into the Moto Guzzi dealership and you could get a very staid, very retro, without intending to be retro, it was just left over, looking Eldorado or Ambassador, right? Cruiser bike, police bike, etc. Or you could get a V7, kind of a sporty bike, a lightweight 750, not a big deal. Or you could get Moto Guzzi's very first entry into the world of, I can't show this on podcast, on the thing because, anyway, let me open the image in a tab that our friends can look at. Oh, that's a bad one. But anyway, yes.
That's a nice looking bike.
It kind of is, isn't it? And it's a bike that's kind of funny
Black
because
is always beautiful.
I wasn't even thinking about it. I wasn't aware. So I've owned a couple of Moto Guzzi 850 T3s. So the T3 was kind of an interesting bike. It was T stood for touring, and 3 stood for it has 3 disc brakes. Okay, so it's a shaft drive bike, and it has a touring 6.5 gallon gas tank.
Nice.
Yeah.
like that.
She's got some legs on her, right?
I like that.
And as you could see, the styling was a little different than the Eldorado and the Ambassador, right? So the Eldorado and the Ambassador had a very certain, bulbous style to them.
It kind of looks like that bike went like one of the V7.
Say it, Steve. Say it.
The V7 had sex with the Z900 back in the day, and came out with that because it has a very Z900 tank. To
So
it and stuff.
if the V7, which was sexy of its own right, beautiful bike, V7s were gorgeous and absolutely sporty bikes. You look at a V7 from 1973, it's a sporty fucking bike. The shape of the gas tank is sporty. It's a sporty fucking bike.
It's a handsome feller.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right that the Moto Guzzi Interceptor does kind of look like a mishmash, or it looks kind of like a combination like a KZ, right? And it turns out that if you go from the Moto Guzzi V7 with its 750cc motor to the Moto Guzzi Interceptor, which is an 850 motor, 5-speed transmission. So I didn't knock me over with a feather when a young lady calls the shop the other day, talking about how her somewhat recently deceased husband left behind on our planet a Moto Guzzi Interceptor.
Nice.
About 120 miles from here. Now, 2 problems. One,
It's 120 miles. From
title is questionable. 2, it comes in at least 7 boxes. Yeah, all right, it's one of those. So, but I'm kind of digging it because I was not even aware of it. And I really wasn't, because if you tell me 1973 Moto Guzzi, my brain goes straight to Eldorado 850. Boom, every single time. It goes to Eldorado 850, kind of a porky bike, kind of Harley Davidson-ish. But I don't think of the 850 Interceptor. I just don't.
Did somebody put knuckle dusters on there?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, that's a thing. So those are the head protectors if the bike were to fall over.
So
Yep.
where's the bike now? Still out there?
Not in my garage.
Buck a CC?
Maybe less than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it may come down to just a charitable donation.
Nice.
So now here's the weird thing is the old fella in question who died used to work at the General Dynamics tank factory
There you go.
Oh,
down in Lima, Ohio,
Yeah,
right?
Lima.
And he worked on the M1 tanks
wow.
that I
That's kind of a-
later operated.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow. And she goes, oh, you got to get down here. My sister's trying to throw this thing away for scrap money.
I'll go with you.
So I'm very excited. I don't know if I'm going to go down on Sunday or Monday or something. I'll figure it
Have you seen a
out.
picture or anything? Or?
What's that?
Have you seen a picture of
No.
the parts?
Who gives a shit?
Again, thank you. And
Let's go.
That's the right attitude.
Let's go.
Let's fucking go down and pick up this fucking bike.
Yeah.
And let's find out what's going on with it. Because on its worst day, it's kind of a good looking bike.
Oh, it's a great looking bike.
And-
Looking put together.
And it does. And I've had a couple of 850s, and this is an 850. So for anybody who's looking, it's an 850 T3 is what it
You
is.
could probably take the seat and the tank and the side panels and put them on.
You know
An
what?
Eldorado or some
here's
other
what
850.
here's why I think it's not a T3, and here's why I think it's an Interceptor. So a T3 would have double disc brakes up front and a big disc brake out in the back. And this has got a drum brake out back and a single disc brake in the front. And I think that's the difference between an Interceptor and a T3. Because the Touring was meant to be kind of a heavy sport bike, aka a light touring bike. And I think the Interceptor was meant to be like, well, we've got some parts hanging around.
Yeah.
And so motorcycle reviews of the day, it's lighter than a T3. The electricals are less complicated and less troublesome than the normal 850 T3. I'm curious to see what it actually is in person. She said it's brown with a gold stripe on the side, which I do remember was a paint scheme that was very popular, and I owned a T3 that was brown with a gold stripe down the side. So we could be in the market. We could be having
get that one.
We could be having an
on,
850
baby.
Interceptor come into the world. Again, if you'd have said, pop quiz, which motorcycle brand produced an Interceptor?
Yeah, right.
I would have said first Royal Enfield and Honda.
Yeah.
Right? And I would have not thought that
Moto Guzzi.
Moto Guzzi. Right? Not at all. I wouldn't have thought so. But here we are. So anyway, so hopefully this week we're going to go down and
it could be a Patreon gift.
or who knows what the fuck's going to happen with it, because again, sometimes projects come in, sometimes the roaches check in but they don't check out.
Do you know what we have to do someday? Like if we have something that we want to do, like this is like, to John's point, this is not so we can have money and go do something. This is so we can do something that's going to provide you guys with
Get
joy.
to the point.
Yeah, true.
So if we have something we can't fix or something, man, we should sell little pieces where we all sign the pieces. And then you can build up the money, and then we can buy a cool fucking project and then do something. You know what I mean?
So here's the project that we didn't get around to building.
Right.
At your $20 mark, we'll send you one piece per month until we send you the whole bike.
Remember that 1100 that we didn't
With the
that we didn't
fasteners.
successfully sell? The XS 1100 that we didn't sell at Mid Ohio, even though John got it running.
Right.
Like, even though he got it running,
For
we didn't sell it.
For $120 for shipping you the fucking bike.
We would have taken $50 for that bike.
There you go.
I would have bought it, man. Why
But
didn't you tell me?
instead,
Give us your street address.
purely out of pride, it got loaded up and brought back to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, if it's man, I'll take it.
Oh God! See, that's how garages get filled.
I know.
You look at how big your garage is.
Yeah. Have you seen
His
Sidge's
garage is fucking
He's got
huge.
plenty of room. Are you fucking kidding me?
Not anymore. You
No, fuck you.
guys all drop bikes off.
Bullshit. His garage is the size of a football field.
Hey, I'd have a lot more
Not
space if I
anymore.
wasn't putting up your.
You're full of shit.
Oh my God!
What, do you got a snow machine in there now? Or
Oh,
something?
that's behind the house.
I was gonna say.
Exactly.
And then I got a sled, and then he's gonna put it like. Wait,
And I think you got 2 fishing rods in there too, right?
no.
Oh
Sure.
my God, man! All right, anybody got anything else?
I think that's it.
I feel like that was good value for money. I got some
Wait,
therapy shit worked out.
I do
We
too.
didn't hear anything from Hoffert all day.
I have nothing to say.
The best you've ever heard from Steve Hoffert.
Look, we've had more than one person try to leave us a 3-star review recently, and everybody's chiming in about like, "Oh, it's great, 3 stars," and I'm like, "You guys fucking keep trotting that shit out." I know you think it's cute, and I think these podcast listeners who are like just kind of figuring us out and kind of getting to those episodes are like, "Oh, 3 stars, that's really funny," and I'm like, "I can have a whole fucking. We're gonna have to have another intervention.
That's boning us up the ass.
Don't
there.
actually leave 3 stars." Yeah,
Did you see this? I posted this.
I
today.
did. Yeah, that's fucking weird, man.
Is that awesome?
What is that called again?
It's the POWA. Powa.
Hey, did we talk about the
Based off a TZ750.
It's a
though,
TZ750 underneath all that shit.
Yep.
which
Yeah.
I want the TZ750.
I know.
don't
I
want
would
it.
take that first, but
Did we talk about the X350?
is that the Harley thing?
The Harley.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think we talked about it in so much as refer back to podcast number, whatever.
Yeah. So that
I
thing-
don't think any of us have changed our opinion of it. I mean, has anybody at the table said like the thing that we predicted was going to happen is actually happening?
No, but I mean, I'd be interested in riding one just to piss other people off. Like just riding around in this little 350 China Harley. Like, yeah.
You had your opportunity with the Street 500 and the Street 750.
But those are big. I want to.
They're not big.
I know. I want a tiny Harley. Like, like.
So this
Harley.
this
They want the mini
350,
bike.
you've seen the Benelli TNT 302 that was here in my showroom.
Yeah.
There's one in the back hallway.
Oh, it's the same.
It's
thing.
not little.
I thought they were gonna make it like a classic look of it. It's just
No,
that?
it's like a full size bike.
It's that exact motorcycle. It's the same bike that they sell called the TNT 600.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So yeah, a Benelli. For anybody who was paying attention, the Benelli TNT 302 is the bike that Harley Davidson is using as the foundation for its Harley Davidson, whatever they're calling their 350.
They should have done the Leoncino.
That's what I was thinking.
That's absolutely right. So, just for the podcast people, we're going to throw it up on the screen right quick in a hurry so people can see. A Benelli 302S is the structural mechanical foundation for this Harley Davidson 350 that is produced by QJ, which is Benelli.
Right.
Which, QJ.
So the bike will be a halfway decent
We
bike.
talked
then.
about this like 2 years ago.
Yeah, no. Right.
Jeez, Harley is so slow to roll.
Well, and this is kind of the thing. And
Yeah, we talked about it so long ago that I forgot that was this. Like, I thought it was, like, I didn't even remember that it was this bike. Sorry.
Exactly. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the exact same frame, it's the exact same suspension, it's the exact same everything. It's got a bore and stroke difference that equals 341 cc's or whatever.
Benelli looks way better though.
And that's the thing is, I agree that the Benelli actually looks better in the real deal than and we're way past the point of prototype photographs. This thing is out. I mean, well, it's out in markets.
There's something disproportionate about it.
Yes, and the big part of it is the rear tail section plastics that are trying to give it the air of a Harley Davidson flat tracker.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, or an
Makes
Indian
the-
FTR.
Yeah, exactly. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to beat into your fucking head that this is a flat tracker, right? But all they've done is they put the seat on too high. And they put the seat on too high, and they gave it that little peanut-looking gas tank that's supposed to look like those XL 1000 Sportsters that has that Sportster-esque shape to the gas tank. And the long and short of it is, look, man, this is the same. This is a Benelli QJ. This is a QJ 350.
Flat tracker to fudge packer.
Dude,
It's not great. I mean,
gonna
it's
sell
really
zero.
not great.
They're
And-
going to sell zero, and they're going to blame some reason like
yeah,
fickle
yeah, it's fine.
hipsters and all this
That's
other
fine.
stuff. They can't. Dude, that thing sucks. I'm not impressed.
Do you know where they need to sell it?
India?
China.
China. Okay.
China.
Yeah.
They need to be able to sell a bar and shield into the Chinese market a lot. Do you know why Vespa's limited edition this year is Year of the Rabbit? Sleepy, do you know what Year of the Rabbit is?
It's the thing that you get at the Chinese restaurant, and it's one of the ones next to the bear.
Okay, exactly. Right. So Year of the Rabbit has very little impact if you're an American person or an Italian person or whatever.
Right.
Year of the Rabbit means everything if you're Chinese.
Right.
Okay. So when they do an entire limited edition scooter and they make 1,000 of them for $13,000 a piece, and it's the Year of the Rabbit scooter, they're not aiming that at Nebraska.
Right.
They're not aiming that at Italy, right?
Can I reserve a Year the Dragon scooter?
You'll have to wait. So I think, what is it, next year? Next year's Year of the Dragon, isn't it?
Wasn't like the year before was a rat, right? Wasn't it
I
Year
have
of
to
the
wait.
Rat?
I have to wait 9 years. I'm Year of the Cock. So I got to wait 9 fucking years to get my Year of the Cock Vespa. I don't think that program's going to have around that kind of staying power. I just don't think it's going to stay.
It's going to have a...
It's going to have a fucking
Snooze.
cock on it. Look,
It's going to have a little drip.
yeah, the Vespa Year of the Rabbit thing is clearly to sell to China.
The front of the seat just foreskin.
The Year of the Rabbit
Keeps it dry
Vespa
during a
is,
rainstorm.
yeah,
You have to roll it up and down.
yeah. I mean, this bike is fucking.
Are you cracking yourself up over there, Sam?
Oh, he's
laughing at his own jokes.
I was thinking of the image.
Oh, can you get one of those?
What?
A Year of the Rabbit?
Steve, this is $13,000.
Steve.
This is $13,000 for a 150cc scooter that
Well, I
was.
just wonder if you can get them in the United States. I'm not saying I want one.
I've pre-sold 2 of them.
You have?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. So I have taken deposits on 2.
Are they relocated Asian Americans or something?
They are not.
Really?
No, they are not.
Wow.
They are people that go. Vespa has a new limited edition. I have to have it.
Eastern
Really?
Europeans.
Yeah.
So, this is the kind of thing where this is ugly.
Yeah, it's not good.
Okay, I mean, you could say like
Not even Tito
I
Francona
like
is
it
going to
better
ride
than the
one of
Bieber
those.
bike.
it's better than the Bieber bike. You're exactly right. It is better.
It reminds
You
of
sold
that-
the Bieber bike.
I sold 2 of the
No, look
Bieber
at
bikes.
look at
I got
that.
1 left. I still have to sell, Chris.
Did you ever see Farscape?
Yeah. Yeah.
He looks like the pilot.
It does look like the pilot on that, right? The seat does look like the pilot on Farscape.
Yeah.
It's got that big head shroud thing.
Yeah.
So the reason that this bike exists, the reason that Vespa is doing the 946 edition, to be their $13,000 Year of the Rabbit, that's clearly targeting, it's clearly targeting China. That's where people celebrate the Year of the Rabbit. Right? But the reason it's existing is because the Vespa Christian Dior.
Did they finally sell out? 3 of them?
I don't think they did. I don't think they did. I have a sad thing to report, and I'm pretty sure that they didn't sell out of the Vespa Christian Dior because it's the same exact bike. It's still a Vespa 946. The weight of a Vespa 300, the power of a Vespa 150, no storage under the seat whatsoever.
Takes all the cool parts of a scooter and then throws them out. And then
$23,000.
Insane.
$23,000 in white and extraordinarily tacky gold trim.
And you know what's funny? Somebody, I when you posted this before, I looked it up after, it was months ago.
Yeah.
And they pulled up the luggage.
Yes.
And they were like, do not expose to water or rain.
Do not expose to water, sunlight, or rain.
Sunlight.
Sunlight. The luggage, the case on the back of it. So if you come into my shop and you buy, and I special order you a $23,000 Christian Dior,
Yeah.
I can't sell you the top case.
No.
You have to go to a Christian Dior retailer to buy the top case and order the top case and the helmet for the Christian Dior bike. The top case, $6,000.
And not able to be used in.
Don't get it wet.
Yeah.
Don't get it wet.
Or sunny.
You can install it yourself?
You're going to have to, because I'm not touching that fucking thing.
Yeah.
If you didn't buy it from me, there's no way I'm getting my dick beaters on this thing. No way.
Hey, Phil, where's the step drill?
Yes, exactly. Hey, did this come with brackets? We're going to make some.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
I got a broken screwdriver. Use that.
This fucking thing is a disaster, and unless your name begins with the Prince of or Shaw, you shouldn't buy this fucking thing. If your name is not the Prince of something,
Oberlin,
Bernai, right? You shouldn't own this fucking bike. And it is true. The place where they sold these was Southeast Asia. They sold a bunch of them, and in the Middle East, they sold a bunch of them.
All right.
In the United States, not even the wealthy assholes, not even the people who called me was like, I have to get that Christian Dior for my wife. Will you order it in for me? I said, of course I'll order it in for you. What's it going to cost? Don't know yet. But you give me a $2,000 deposit, and you'll get the first one we get.
No, give me a $20,000 deposit.
Well, we didn't know.
Yeah.
We didn't know.
Yeah.
I just found out yesterday the projected price of the bunny, what Renee calls the bad bunny.
The bad bunny.
Renee.
Pointy teeth.
Yeah. So what I think is hilarious is I called my rep and said, hey, I just took a deposit for that bike. What bike? The 10th anniversary Year of the Bunny, 946. But I took a $2,000 deposit because I didn't want to take my normal $500 deposit because, this fucker's going to be expensive. Yeah. How much is it? I don't know. Wait, you're my motherfucking rep, dude.
I don't know.
I give your company at least $100,000 a year.
So they do promotion.
$1 million a year.
They do all this promotion and they still don't even tell the dealer.
No MSRP. We didn't know. I didn't know.
That's fucking crazy.
So I told him, well, you better come up with a price pretty fucking quick because I got the guy on the horn for a $2,000 deposit. He wants to know what he's in for.
What he's buying.
And I totally spitballed this thing at between $12,000 and $13,000, and my rep contacts me back and goes $12,999.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
Wow.
Because I was like, they will not live down $23,000 for the Christian Dior.
Right.
They will not live that down. So again, here we go. So again, this is a weird fucking bike. I mean, this
$13,000. Holy cow.
You can buy a lot of things for $13,000.
You can buy a Janus 450 for $13,000.
And have money left over, right?
No. No, you're all in it for the 450. Yeah,
And you have to drive to Goshen, Indiana.
And then ride it back.
And if you
Smith behind you.
and if you want to get the bike actually delivered on
Not
time,
like he was getting in
you got to
front of
take
you.
a triple mocha chai latte
You have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Here's what I would do.
Hipsters as fuck,
They
man.
got them there, baby.
Rather than spending $13,000 on a 150cc Vespa, I'm going to tell you what I would do. I would buy a $5,000 150cc Vespa.
Or I'd buy a
And buy-
$3,000 buddy.
Hold on.
And take it over to Cinch
I'd
to
buy
paint
a
it.
$5,000 Vespa
Oh, yeah.
for, 150cc, same speed, actually faster because it's not as heavy. Okay.
better
And I would
speed.
buy $8,000 worth of prostitutes for a long weekend.
Oh, a long weekend.
So you divide it up however you want, whether that's like 5 pretty ones or,
Right.
whatever. However the math works out. I don't know how, I haven't bought a prostitute in a very long
least
time.
one
Or pay
German.
Cinch $1,000 to paint that.
The point
Christian
being,
Dior.
Yeah.
$13,000 to be spent on a Vespa is
Yeah.
one good Vespa and $8,000 worth of prostitutes and below.
Or
It's a hell of a weekend.
How much should that patchwork one cost?
Oh, the Wotherspoon?
Yeah.
It was regular Vespa price. So a Wotherspoon was only, the Sean Wotherspoon limited edition Vespa was the same price as buying a regular Primavera and putting a front luggage rack on it, because the bike came with a front luggage rack and the fancy seat. So for a limited edition, the Sean Wotherspoon was actually underpriced. Yeah, because you could not buy a regular Vespa Primavera and put the front luggage rack on it for the same price as buying a Sean Weather. And that's one of those strange things that it was
So that was a good deal.
it was a really fantastic deal. Now, here's the Unkie Phil angle. So you guys
Looks
know
like you wrecked it already.
wrecked him. It damn near killed him.
Killed him. So you guys know that there's been a Sean Wotherspoon in the room here for a couple of years. Yep. Right? You guys seen it? It's over there sitting on the verse hall. And I bought that for my personal collection. I bought that because I liked the bike. I thought it was interesting looking. And
Chili Kicks, you can go in Lakewood. You can maybe get the shoes.
oh, really? Interesting. I don't. The
Nick
shoes
just sold a set of shoes for $600 there.
My God. Oh, man. So I bought this motor scooter, and I bought it, but I didn't title it. I paid for it. It's mine. I own it, but I didn't title it. So it's brand new. Yeah. And I kind of made a promise to myself. If nobody called and offered me $2,000 over MSRP, I'd keep it. Mm-hmm. Guess what happened 2 weeks ago?
Tell us.
Somebody called and offered
Tell
me
us, Unkie.
$2,000 over MSRP.
Nice.
So the one in the corner isn't mine anymore.
Move it.
Move it.
Yeah.
Because I know that the world is a constantly revolving place.
Yeah.
And I know that Wotherspoon, I wanted it, but I didn't want it $2,000 extra.
No, fuck no, you didn't.
So if somebody wants it more than I do, and they're willing to pay $2,000 over retail
Yeah,
for it.
yeah.
And again, I didn't upsell him. I didn't hard sell him. The guy called me and he's like, "Do you still have that Wotherspoon in the back of your showroom?" I said, I do.
It's gone up $2,000.
And and I told him a year ago when he bought his Wotherspoon, now he wants to buy a Wotherspoon for his girlfriend.
Nice.
And I said, "I told you a year ago." And he goes, "Yeah, you told me it was $2,000 over retail." He goes, "Do you still have it?" And I said, "I do still have it." And he goes, "I'm buying it." He called 50 dealers trying to find any Wotherspoon he could get anywhere. That now he said my $2,000 over retail was the price he was willing to pay.
Where's this guy from?
Here.
So he's calling all over the United States, and there's one within 50 miles.
Well, he
or
knew that I was
20
$2,000 over retail.
So
So he was hoping to find somebody that was $500 over retail or at retail and then go drive and pick it up.
I have a dumb question.
Yeah, go
But
ahead.
An honest question.
Fair enough.
So did they take like 100 yellow ones and 100 blue ones and 100 and just swap parts?
So
like,
that was what they did with the Volkswagen.
okay, but that's
Harlequin.
Not, so like the
Harlequin.
are these all the same?
So these bikes are all yellow Vespas.
Okay.
So the year before this bike came out, Vespa had a yellow Primavera.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe it didn't do so good.
Gotcha.
All right. But then what they did was they took, the green headset top, they took the red headset bottom, they took the Verde Relax front fender, and they made what you and I would call a parts bin bike. Mm-hmm. Right? That's what it is. There's vinyl graphics on the side. There's white wheels that Vespa had never done before. There's white leg shield trim Vespa had never done before. And there's a fucking corduroy seat that you can't get wet.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the trend?
Well, look at the Bieber one. You can't touch it.
The Bieber, they've
You just
taken
have
it
to look
further.
at it. You're
They've
like,
taken
hey.
it from you can't get it wet to you actually can't touch it.
No.
It is truly an
That's a
MC
nice
Hammer.
Vespa. Can we don't touch it?
Right.
Well, I think
Vespa admits they made a mistake because Vespa will sell you a kit
Yeah.
of black parts for all the parts you'll touch.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They realize they may have fucked up with the Bieber. They will sell you a kit of every part that needs to be black.
I think it was just great. Like the two things that just cracked me up were the
Yeah.
grips.
Yeah.
That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna touch everything and grab the grips. But then the floorboards.
Floorboards.
I was like, dude, like what are you thinking? Like,
we're boat shoes.
yeah. You'd have
So
to.
I think a good question for next week
Yeah.
would be, what is the one bike that you wouldn't sell that has no price? That in your collection.
In
that
my
has-
collection?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying you might. Every bike in your collection may have a price.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you have a bike that does anybody here,
Yeah.
or what bike would be the most costly one to get off you? Maybe.
yeah.
If
I
it,
think
if
that's
it does
a good,
have a price
that's
at
a
all.
very good topic for next week.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Think about
for
your
next week.
collection. Think about your collection. Is there a bike that's priceless? And if there isn't a bike that's priceless, what bike has the highest price?
Right. Or how about if you?
Because
and-
between this table, we have a lot of motorcycles.
Yeah. Well, that was. Did you see? There's a vintage motorcycle bingo, and it's like if you had this thing and like
You sent
I
it,
saw
Sleepy,
yeah,
and it's pretty funny.
Everybody saw it.
But no,
Yeah.
but there was the one or two of the things that it had. Basically, it was
you
like
rang the bell on
I
all
didn't
of
get
them.
that.
Oh, but it was just like it's just dumb stuff. Like you have exhaust pipes for bikes you don't have. You have 3 random gas tanks that you don't know what they go to.
Yeah.
All this other stuff. But the one was like you are an elite person. You have over 15 to 20 motorcycles in your collection. I'm like, fuck, that's half the table.
Yeah,
Podcast.
it's when you do look at the, there's we did bingo for motor, for our IX Center motorcycle show.
Oh yeah.
When we're working the booth at the IX Center motorcycle show, we'll make a bingo card, for like old man with a walker, but still has
Hey.
a Harley Davidson,
Cut.
like it's all that stuff. It's 4 degrees outside. It's January 25th in Cleveland. Halter top, most of the tits out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Short shorts, and you're like, you could check that one off early while you're loading in.
But go to the insurance booth.
Yeah, the insurance booth. Just literally go to Progressive booth and fill the entire thing out.
You're freaking me out with this mustache. I keep thinking Chris Hansen's coming out from behind that fucking thing to arrest the child predator.
I don't.
You look like some fucking weird child predator when you shave your face.
Oh, because he's got a mustache.
Yeah.
Okay.
I kept
I've
looking
always had
over.
a mustache.
No, you haven't. You had facial hair up until like it wasn't this little thin like pencil John Waters looking fucking.
This is my Adolf mustache.
Jesus
It's
Christ.
blonde.
All right. Fair enough. I think that's
'Cause I
enough.
have blue eyes.
This is my
and
second
blonde
time
hair.
trying to exit this podcast. There won't be a third. I'm cutting you all off. John, can we ride fast and take chances? Play us out.
Bum 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 bum.
That's right, bud. Steve, get us the fuck out of here.